What's going on, guys? It's a SmashCast podcast. I'm imBeko Gaming. We got BooperHero, Tristan,
Hi.
Lock, Potato, whatever he goes by, and our special guest, KalebGarner, Pokémon Nuzlocke extraordinaire, followed by Purple Cliff himself.
Yes. Best friends.
And today's podcast, we're talking about the new Pokemon game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And, our personal thoughts, our experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, what we hope will be the future of Pokemon. So how are we all doing tonight, guys?
I'm doing pretty fine. How are you guys doing?
Ready to talk about...
I can't complain. I'm doing pretty good. I had 2 finals earlier today, and I didn't bomb them. So I'm good.
There we go. Win.
That's always a good feeling.
I'm glad I don't have to worry about finals.
Same. Yeah, I haven't taken a college class in like 3 years now, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Dude, it's so fun to take classes. I love getting knowledge.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to crap on your knowledge. I'm just saying it's a good feeling not to be in that.
No, I didn't think you're crapping on my knowledge. It's just
Okay.
some people just go to school and they're like, oh, I don't care. I just want to have a job where I make money. But I actually genuinely I do like
learning.
So it is,
Yeah,
Dude, Caleb's big brain is just getting bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm learning about how to be a manager, learning about marketing.
He had to. That's why he cut his hair, because nothing would fit his head anymore. His brain was getting bigger.
Precisely. Did we already lose Booper, or is he doing?
He didn't like the intro. He ended it, and it's just
I thought maybe he was doing a potty break, like we were talking about.
Right off the bat.
I was
ready
showing
for a different view when that camera came back on.
I was showing Caleb how we do it around here. Okay.
Okay. But so yeah, no, we got the new Pokemon game. What were your guys? I do want to know this. What were your guys' thoughts when when it first got announced and first seeing it?
Oh, you're talking about the initial reveal?
Yeah, like the initial reveal and the build up to the actual release.
My opinion, honestly, didn't really change all that much. I know a lot of people had their own problems with it. I haven't personally experienced anything, but it's honestly probably my opinion on it's increased since it was announced.
I don't know. I see that. I don't know, when it was announced and I saw it. First off, I thought the hats were very stupid, and there's just there's no information. The thing that even got me excited for the game was a week before the game when I'm seeing TikTok after TikTok after TikTok of people just leaking the game and actually showing what's in there. And, the things to be actually excited for and not what Pokemon showed.
So, the initial reveal was the security guard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a security guard going through an office, right?
It was on Pokemon Day, March or April of it was right whenever this year had just started, and we had Pokemon Legends Arceus for about a month or two. And we were all loving Legends Arceus. I know for a fact that Tristan, Bo, and I all streamed it and talked about it and enjoyed it a lot. And then I remember that Pokemon Day coming up, and I remember being like, oh man, we're about to get some juicy DLC for Legends Arceus. I'm so excited. Hey, just take your time. This game is so fun. And then they announced Generation 9. All right, nothing else is gonna happen with Legends Arceus. And I was like, oh, we're done with that game. We're just gonna put it away and we're not gonna play it anymore. So at first, my vibes about it were I was a little bit worried, because I was like, okay, well, we just got Legends Arceus. Why are you already announcing and you're about to release a whole nother game?
Right.
So I was already a little bit worried about it, and I remember talking to Tristan about it, and I was like, I kind of just wish they would just wait another year. This game doesn't look that great. Just take your time. I'm not in a rush. I have plenty of other games to play. Elden Ring had just come out. We had so much stuff to do. I don't need a brand new game. So I was a little bit worried about it, and then I guess kind of like what Bo is saying, when the game leaked out and I started seeing some of these awesome designs, I got a little bit more hype for it, but I honestly could have gone another year, and I would have been completely fine.
Right.
To me, the whole leaks thing is kind of to me, it's treating it's kind of like when a child has a cookie jar, and you can't touch the cookie jar, right? And then mom's like, no, you can't get your hand in that cookie jar. The cookie jar, you can't eat any cookies out of it. And then mom goes to sleep, and then you sneak into the kitchen. You might sneak yourself a cookie. Those cookies are gonna taste better because like you snuck in, you got it because you weren't supposed to be getting it. Like to me, the leaks were things that Pokemon wasn't showing us. So like those leaks made the game more hype for people because we were getting, it was like special feeding to us is how I was looking at it.
Yeah.
But that just might be me. It's because that's not Pokemon for the last. I kind of drifted away from Pokemon like revealing stuff like in X and Y and Black and White. I didn't really pay any attention to like how they revealed things back then. I started getting back into like paying attention how they reveal things with Sun and Moon, and then of course Sword and Shield and so on. And they would love to show. I remember Sun and Moon. They showed pretty much every Pokemon.
Yeah.
Up to release, they showed almost everything about the game. There was not really a whole lot like special about playing it. So that's why I think the leaks were like made the game a little bit more hype this time around. Right. Personally,
because we just didn't know anything.
Yeah, like I said, it's like special feeding.
So do you think the game having leaked improved the game or your experience on it?
I don't think it improved necessarily like the experience of it. I think the experience would have been the same either way. I think the big thing for me is like if I didn't see the leaks, I almost wouldn't have bought the game. Like, because everything that...
So you think promoting wise,
like they just...
the leaks did help the promotion wise of it?
Yeah, like I think that's a lot of reason why people bought the game. Because for me, like I'm looking at this, like we just didn't know we didn't even know about the Paradox Pokemon.
They didn't show barely anything on this Pokemon game.
Like
this one actually... And that's what, like, it's harder to estimate if this one had more than, like, the last games. Because, like, it's hard to compare, like, what they didn't show to what was leaked. You know what I mean? In the last games, they showed almost everything about the story, everything about, like, gimmicks-wise.
Right.
Things like that. So it's hard to kind of compare, like, what was so meaty about this game compared to the last ones, which is obviously the open world.
Yeah, coming from somebody like me who is in school for marketing right now, and I'm learning a lot about marketing and advertising and promoting, I feel like Nintendo, Game Freak, Pokemon Company, whoever it is, I feel like they dropped the ball hard on this marketing. Like they would just send out a tweet at like 10 p.m. and be like, "Hey guys, new Pokemon trailer in the morning, get hype." And then I'm still a huge Pokemon fan. Even if I'm like, nah, it's fine. Like they should wait. I'm still gonna wake up early in the morning and see it. There was one time where I legitimately woke up like 2 hours early, and I was like, "All right, let's see. Okay, I know there's some kind of Paradox Pokemon. Maybe some new legendaries." And it was legitimately an Ed Sheeran music video for like just 3 minutes, and like that was it. And they didn't show any new content. It was still like, "Oh, it's a Let's Go mechanic. It's hey, check out this cool gym leader. He has a whip." And I was like, "What is this marketing team doing?" Like, I feel like they did a terrible job building up the hype, but then thankfully, like, I mean, I don't know, like I kind of agree with Bo. I don't really know, or maybe it was Booper that said it. I don't know if it helped the game or hurt the game. I don't know about that, but for me personally, I would have bought it either way. But it did the leaking like a week or two in advance did definitely hype me up a lot more than all the promotions did.
The way that I see it for me was I think they kind of took a chance, like you said yourself. Pokemon's built their own reputation for 20 years, so they can pretty much sell a game off of one announcement if they really wanted to. I think they kind of took a chance to experiment on what it would be like to have a...
Talk about a company that experiments. Pokemon never does the same thing over and over again. They love trying to be... And I don't know if it's innovative, but they don't ever have a trend of doing the same thing over and over again. To some extent, right? Like they did still kind of keep the gym leaders and things like that. That's still kind of a thing they do over and over again. But when it comes to introducing new gimmicks, they never want to keep the same good gimmick. If they introduce a good gimmick, they will not bring it back. They like to come up with new gimmicks.
Well, they have. I mean, for like 15 years, they were receiving criticism about how their game never changes. This is they're reselling the same game over and over again with the different Pokemon, pretty much. I think maybe as much as people trash on Game Freak for their innovation, I think they've done decently in changing their game a bit. Like, would I like to see Mega Evolution come back? Maybe. I mean, it'd be pretty cool, but
I guess the experimenting thing comes more into play in the side games. It doesn't come into play in the main line. They do a lot of
Right.
experimenting in the side games. Those tend to never be the same, because if you look at like Coliseum versus what we have now for like Legends Arceus, right? Those are not the same game at all.
Right. Well, I think the proof that they're experimenting with their games now is just their whole take on how over like the last 3 or 4 games they've moved towards open world, because they didn't just jump straight from Black and White into Scarlet and Violet and just say this is open world now. We've seen them progressing over time. Like with what was the wild area or whatever in Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
That was kind of like their first take on
First time
how
we had
would
a free roam camera,
yeah, how would it even work in a Pokemon game? They were
which
kind of
is
pushing their
funny
boundaries
that
there.
that was a big thing in 2020 was when Sword and Shield released, I think. Was it 2020 or
I think
2019?
it's 2019 because it was 3 years ago.
DLC
Yeah,
was in 2020.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, like with Legends Arceus, that was their first almost fully open world game. I mean, they still had area restrictions and
Right.
stuff in that one. I think that was like their first real attempt, and Scarlet and Violet was their first truly, aside from the level caps and stuff that you had to go around, it was pretty much their first fully open world game. And I think that's the main evidence they have for that they are trying to change up their game at least a little bit.
I think that once we got into Gen 7, they started to show that a lot more, where they were like, yeah, well, we're open to doing something different.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
Gen
like,
7,
that
I
was
think,
a-
compared to like, really, I mean, besides things like Pokemon becoming more modernized, like we're talking about open world and things like that, that's more of the game just trying to become a 2022 game, being open world. If we look at Gen 7, like Gen 7 is probably the most different from almost all the Pokemon games, in my opinion, in terms of the mainline ones. It was the first time they wanted to do something completely different, and it's also the only one so far that in the mainline ones that does not have any gym leaders
right
at all. I mean, if you look at the last two, it's still the only one that doesn't have any gym leaders. So
You're right.
I think
Well-
that they're getting into, Nintendo in general has had a trend of getting into modernizing just a little bit too late. They're always playing catch up in terms of modernization. And I know we're
The
talking
way
about Pokemon Company, but still.
Yeah, the way I kind of see Scarlet and Violet personally in terms of that is I think they are at least finally trying to. They have received a lot of criticism over the last like 3 games or so, so maybe they're fine. Like, a lot of people were hating on Sword and Shield, so I think they're, even if they didn't do it absolutely perfectly, at least I think they're maybe trying to appeal to what the fans have been asking for a while. Like, how long have people been asking for open world Pokemon game?
Oh, forever.
Since Gen 2, probably. Honestly,
Yeah,
but
no.
I think Caleb had a point in saying that the game coming out just after Legends Arceus, like, it's just, and I don't know if it was the same. It probably wasn't the same team that worked on Legends Arceus that worked on Scarlet and Violet. They probably had like maybe a smaller team on Legends Arceus or something like that. I don't know. I don't work for Pokemon, so
I think it was different teams, and that's why there are these really cool features in Legends Arceus, like how you can release multiple Pokemon into the wild at once, like from your box, or the map is a much better map. You can place multiple markers, and
Right.
it's easier to move around. Like, that's why that was all in Legends Arceus, but it didn't make the move over to Scarlet and Violet. And also, like, some of the catching mechanics where you can't just throw balls automatically. I think they haven't like come out.
they
and
should
said
bring
it.
that back.
Yeah,
I
they
kinda
should,
wish
but
they'd
they haven't
bring
come
that
out and
back.
said it, I think, because ever since the whole Dexit controversy, Pokemon Company and Game Freak do not like do a lot of interviews, because after everything happened with Dexit, they're like, okay, we're gonna make games. We're not gonna answer a bunch of your questions, and y'all aren't gonna get a whole lot of behind the scenes. but I'm pretty sure that it was kind of two separate teams that worked on Legends Arceus and
Right.
Scarlet and Violet.
And it might
So
be a
that's why-
thing. Sorry, go ahead, Caleb.
No. So I was gonna say that's why I think that, like there are some things where people are like, okay, well, why didn't this make the move over? Which I mean, it should have, but I think maybe that is part of the reason why.
There might be an instance, kind of. It's not the exact same thing as like, let's say, like Call of Duty, for example, a company that pushes, or a series that is pushed out every year. They push out a game every single year, where they have designated companies per Call of Duty game. But it might be a similar thing where Pokemon has designated teams that work on separate Pokemon games, so they can keep pushing out games every single year. I think it is one of those things like it. I would much rather wait for, and this is what Caleb was talking about, the game coming out not long after Legends Arceus. I would much rather wait 4 or 5 years for the next mainline Pokemon game than get it next year. Like, we're gonna get DLC for Scarlet and Violet next year. Like, there's no doubt we're getting something in November next year. We all know that, and we can talk about that later. But I would much rather wait 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think that the issue, and hopefully like people speaking up and saying, hey, this game releasing in this state is unacceptable. Hopefully that will help this issue. But the issue at the end of the day is it's all about making a profit. This game released really, really buggy, like 8 or 9 months after Legends Arceus already came out. And I think y'all may have seen it on Twitter or on social media. I think it's like the fastest selling Nintendo game of all time. It's already sold 10 million copies in the first 3 days.
Yep.
So in the first 3 days of this game being out, it's already sold more copies than Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon did Lifetime. And it's incredibly buggy and runs terribly.
Right.
But
People
as
still
long as
love it.
as long as Game Freak can just release a little piece of crap game, all of us are gonna buy it. We're all gonna record our 2-hour podcast talking about it. I've already got 145 hours in it. I think that Bo has 85. I think that Booper and Tristan have like 30 or 40. But like we're all still gonna buy it. So as long as people are buying it, Game Freak doesn't really have to like say,
Right.
okay, guys, okay, hey, we don't want money. We're gonna wait 5 years. They know they can keep releasing
They
it
can keep
yearly,
releasing it.
and everyone's gonna buy it, over and over again. So until it becomes a big enough deal where we're like, okay, y'all gotta like chill out. Which, hey, maybe that's gonna happen with Scarlet Violet. Maybe it was this bad to where now we're finally be like, okay, Game Freak, please slow down. Maybe,
Right.
but I don't. It hasn't affected sales at all yet. So
And
I'm
You did
not
bring
sure.
up something I kind of wanted to talk about that we haven't really mentioned yet. Let's talk about how long all of us have played on the game, because so it sounds like Caleb's already looked, because he already guessed how exactly the amount of
I didn't
hours
guess.
that
I've been stalking you guys. I've been watching
because
your
there's
account.
no way that you just guessed 35, 40, and that's literally what I'm looking at on my Switch right now. So that's a bit crazy. If you need to go buy a lottery ticket if you guess that right, but
yeah,
No.
Um,
I literally went and looked at your account.
but it's crazy because Booper, you're at 40 hours. I mean, I don't know if you don't have the ability to look right now. If you don't, I mean, I'm gonna take Caleb's word for it, because it
you're
sounds like
are you saying I'm at 40 hours, or are you asking me?
I mean, it sounds like Caleb already looked. So
I mean,
if you're-
I
if
can
you-
look again really quick.
I have it pulled up. I'll just look
30
real quick.
hours. 30 hours.
Okay.
30.
So what's
okay.
crazy is Booper still has 2 gym badges left, and also you said 1 team star captain left, or no? You said 1
It was
titan.
a Titan, yeah.
I've already beaten the game and have been catching Paradox Pokemon. So it's crazy to me that I've put in the same amount of hours. I'm just saying that this game is different in the way that, like, it's not linear like that. Most people, if they played for 40 hours, they would be through a Pokemon game. Like if one person's already beaten it in 40 hours, another person's already beaten it in 40 hours, right? Most people aren't going to be running around in wild grass
Right.
on Route 1 for 5 to 10 hours in like the linear Pokemon games. But in this game, you can run around, and I do think that this is something we could talk about, is the good aspects of how it is so much different in that aspect, that you can just spend so much time doing whatever you want as compared to the other games.
right. So I think
I was gonna talk about there is just so much to do in this game. I don't think there's been this much stuff to do in a Pokemon game since like Soul Silver and Heart Gold. There's like so many different challenges to do. There's so many places you can go, and it's only the time you spend in the game's only amplified by the open world nature, like you're talking about. I've been so entertained. I've been entertained myself so many times just climbing a mountain and jumping off of it with my legendary Pokemon and gliding off. I've spent at least 7-8 hours just doing that. Yesterday on my live, I spent like an hour just climbing up the snowy mountain.
Boober, if I
It's
didn't know
really
you were
fun.
talking about Pokemon right now, I literally would think you were talking about Breath of the Wild, because this is so Caleb's played Breath of the Wild. I don't think Bo has, but I think Caleb might have a different playthrough story of Breath of the Wild, and we're not here to talk about that game, but that is literally how Breath of the Wild started for me, was like running around, just doing stuff, just running, going up a mountain, jumping off, flying off somewhere else, going to see what's over there, doing the same thing over and over again, rinse and repeat, until I've explored the entire map and there's not much else to see.
Yeah, like if we want to talk about what we enjoyed about the game, this is probably one of, if not certainly top 3 favorite Pokemon games I've played so far. I've not spent this much time just entertaining myself in Pokemon in a long time. I've had this much fun in a Pokemon game since Black and White 2, I think. I think it really just goes to show that it really was just the problem that Pokemon and Game Freak are trying to rush games out too much, because if it wasn't for the technical glitches and stuff, this would probably be, like, in my opinion, the best Pokemon game they've come out with, because of everything there is to do. And I have enjoyed the story so far, even though I haven't completed the game yet.
Yeah, I think that the bones of the game are probably the best Pokemon game ever made. But the technical side of it is also the worst running, the worst looking, and the most buggy, it's the most broken Pokemon game ever made. So if they had an extra year or whatever to work on it more, it would definitively, in my eyes, be the best Pokemon game. But what are I want to some of Bo's thoughts, because I feel like Bo hasn't got to talk in a while.
Oh my god. Well, when
Thank you for your input, Bo. All right, anyway. I'm just kidding.
when I booted up the game,
What do you love about it? Because it sounds like this is going down the
this-
trail of fire right now.
I absolutely love the game. I think honestly my favorite part was due to the fact that it was open world. Some people might hate this, that you could accidentally overlevel your Pokemon. Me, I went the completely opposite route. I purposely leveled up my Pokemon to level 80 and did the entire story. And I'm not kidding. I mean, you could look at the title of my Pokemon streams, and every single title has one thing in common. With the fact that I had one mission and one mission only, and it was to curb stomp the entire region, and everyone's beneath my feet. I was on a mission to rule the entire region, and I had that fire lit in my soul. The only issue with that is, back in Legends Arceus, because this is a consistent issue that happens around here in my parts, Tristan actually put in the effort to create a special command which was a counter for how many times my game crashed. And, well, Pokemon Scarlet crashed about a total of, 8 times day 1.
You were about to beat Legends Arceus. Of course, that was more of a hardware issue than it was a.
And
that was a Bo issue. That wasn't as much. I mean, there were still people's, I'd seen. If you're on Twitter, you've seen it, right? People have had all kinds of issues.
Dude, I was so mad and I was frustrated that, because I just wanted to play the game, and with my game keep on crashing, I didn't get through the stupid tutorial of the game for 3 hours. 3 hours.
Talking about Legends Arceus or Scarlet and Violet?
Scarlet and Violet.
Oh, mine didn't crash at all during the tutorial, so I don't know. But I know when it crashes during normal gameplay. Thankfully, the autosave feature saves my butt a ton, because I feel like when it crashes, I start back up, and I've never missed out on that much.
I'm surprised you didn't turn that off. I'm surprised you left that on.
sometimes when I'm doing a little duplication glitch here or there, you know, I've got to turn it off.
So I
you
don't
know.
mess with the duplication stuff. So I did not know that's how that it needs
Well.
needs autosave.
I needed the 9 million Poké dollars, so I mean, I had to do what I had to do.
That's fair. But no, I love, I love that feel. I don't know. It felt great, like playing through the story. I did love the story, and Europe's calling me out on what is actually my favorite part of the game. The whole reason I even bought the version I bought, being for the Pokemon Professor. But we aren't here to talk about the Pokemon Professor. Europe.
I'm team.
Yeah, let's
I'm
not-
team mom all the way. By the way.
What, by the way? Team
I'm
Mommy.
team the Pokemon mom in the game.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that MILF, yeah.
But no, I don't know. I felt like
I think it is good to mention that your crashes were mostly just due to the game, which is still kind of a
Right.
game issue because it installed incorrectly.
but it's frustrating
That's a
that
weird, such a niche issue that
my
it's still
Switch,
their issue.
my brand new Switch that isn't a year old, is running into these performance issues when the Switch that I bought a month before Smash came out runs the game better. No issues. So it's like,
Which
Yeah,
it's- I mean,
I feel
but-
like you always have like the most cursed Switch luck, Bo. I feel like your Switch.
dude, from SD cards not reading to, it's just everything. It's very hard to try to be a Nintendo content creator when Nintendo feels like it's against you.
Nintendo does Nintendo.
But no, I don't. I feel like, and also like, it might be because I'm just got to be super lucky this playthrough of Pokemon. I found like 3 natural full odds shinies in my before.
Don't even get me started on the shinies. For one, I haven't caught a single shiny. For two, I found out during one of my lives that I've encountered a shiny and battled it, and I never realized somehow. So
Dude,
That was
that
very disappointing
shiny
to me.
counter. Have they had that before? The shiny counter?
No, I think that's new. I've never
That's
seen it
new.
before.
Dude, that thing's cursed. I don't think people need to
I
know
think- I
that.
So Booper, are
it
you
hurt
mostly
my
playing-
soul.
Are you mostly playing in handheld mode, or do you play in a dock?
I'm docked. I've been playing my whole playthrough live, so
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, I feel like when I'm playing in a handheld mode, I'm like pulling Switch up to my eyes. I'm like, okay, is that shiny? Is that shiny? Like I'm trying to like look really close, but I feel like when I'm playing on a TV, I feel like it's very hard to miss.
This, speaking of shinies, this game, I don't know what it is, but they have some really bad shinies in this game.
They're garbage.
Some of the worst we've ever had. And the worst part about it
I
is that
like
they
my
design the
palmy-
shinies now.
I like my
They
palmy
design the
shiny.
shinies now. So why are they looking so bad?
Okay, so which one do you not like, Boop? Or which ones?
Probably
For
his new favorite Pokemon.
the most obvious one, my favorite Pokemon in the game, Mousehold has a shiny that I can't even tell what the
No,
shiny
dude.
part of it is supposed to be.
Dude, that is one of my favorite shinies. That one is so freaking funny. I think it's perfect for that Pokemon. because
Caleb
Mousehold
likes
is-
the meme shinies.
No. Okay, listen. Mousehold literally is like one of the most like under-designed things. Like their whole thing is like one mouse is wearing pants, one is wearing a shirt. That is it. That is their entire design. When they attack, they go, and they
Yeah.
open their mouth really wide. There's no design. There's nothing special about them. They're just 2 mice. So
I
think it's
love that
perfect.
face they make. That's the
Yeah,
best part.
It's so freaking cute and so funny. But I think it's perfect that like these Pokemon that are like super undesigned and really basic and cute. It just makes it so funny that their shiny is so stupid. And it's just like
I do think
almost
that
the
there's
exact same color.
I think there's missed opportunities though when you look at like Amarouge and Cerulege because and even their pre-evolution too because like that
That is
they're crap.
bull- that is
Those 3
bullshit.
are crap shinies.
Are they?
that.
I think so.
So
Personally,
Charcadet's shiny gets blue eyebrows. That's it.
same color.
Cerulege, the Violet exclusive, the one with the blades, gets red eyebrows to represent Armarouge. Armarouge keeps the blue eyebrows that Charcadet had. to represent Ceruledge.
And their bodies are the completely the
literally
same
the same. They didn't change. They literally just changed the eyes.
And we were talking. Bo and I have had this conversation on his stream. What we wish that some of the shinies could have been. Why didn't they reverse the colors? Give Armarouge Ceruledge's colors and Ceruledge Armarouge's colors.
But then we got like good shinies like Bellybulb. Bellybulb has a good shiny. Dondozo, that's probably one of my favorite Pokemon. That's a
I have
fantastic shiny.
You have a Dondozo shiny?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's really good. I like Chin Pao's shiny. I think that one's really pretty.
Right, like the...
But he's shiny locked, right?
Yeah.
Can't get it.
Yeah, you can't get it, but
like a lot of the new Pokemon shinies are like... Yeah, Tinkaton's shiny, that one's funny. That one gets a buy.
does
Yeah, that was really cool.
what's Gimmeagle's evolution's name? I forget.
Goldango?
Goldango.
Does it have a pretty good shiny?
I don't even
hope
think
not.
it... let me look.
You don't like that? You don't like that Pokemon, Caleb?
No. I freaking love that Pokemon. But to me, he's kind of like in the same group as Tandemaus and Mousehold. I just see him just like a stupid, like little, just like funny, like meme Pokemon.
Oh, you think
So,
he has like a funny, good design?
He doesn't
yeah,
have a
yeah,
shiny.
like
He doesn't
yeah,
have a shiny?
I don't see his shiny on Cerebi.
There's no shiny on Cerebi.
Yeah, I don't. Well, but Cerebi doesn't have like for the longest time they didn't have Armarouge and Ceruledge's shiny. Sometimes I think Cerebi isn't like it's just taking time for them to upload
Yeah.
certain shinies. I think
Yeah, but
there's
I...
a lot of people that
Maybe
data
more.
mined it. There is a shiny you can Google. I think it just changes the lines on his body to red, is what it looks like. He goes from silver to a red color, and then his eyes are red. Is what I'm looking at here. There's also this shiny that just puts the cinnamon stick from Applejack's over it.
Right. But there are some really good shiny. Like, there are some new Pokemon that have really great shiny. Earthworm has a great shiny.
Have y'all looked at the box legendary shinies?
Yeah,
Koraidon!
looks really cool.
Yeah, Koraidon's looks
Number
sick.
one.
Literally looks like Toothless.
Yeah, he looks really cool.
Miraidon's.
Hey,
literally
so
just
by
equivalent to
the way,
Garchomp.
which version did everyone get? I got Violet.
I also got
Bo's
Violet.
the only one here that got Scarlet.
Wow.
I feel so left out.
I do wonder if we could look at it to see, like, you know, if Scarlet or if Violet outsold.
I think Violet
Scarlet.
did.
I would
outsole.
put my money on
Violet massively outsold, or not, I don't know, massively, but it seems like they definitely outsold Scarlet outsold.
It's definitely not going to be
sorry,
50-50, right? Like
Violet
it's probably, like-
outsold Scarlet, and the least favorite starter was definitely the duck. Quaxley, it was a pain in my butt to try to get it online.
The
Like, you know, like-
least favorite?
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
wait.
Was
Is it?
was
Do you
fine
think
with
it's
that.
because of the final evolution?
I think it's probably because of Final Evolution, because Austin John had a little thing where like it's like you'll put in a certain trade code, and
Yeah.
it's like if
I
you
think we've
have
talked about
yeah
that.
yeah if you have the cat, put this in if you want to get a duck.
Dude,
I kept doing
Quackable's
that,
shiny is crap.
Yeah, I kept doing that, and for like an hour, I was only getting other
Why?
what's the cat? Oh, the
Sprigatito.
Like
You should
yeah, I
have
feel like no one
messaged
picked
me.
Quaxley. Oh well, I mean, I didn't know you had a complete Pokedex at that point though. I didn't realize.
Well, yeah, that's
You
fair.
were-
But I had 5 extra
Well,
Quaxley eggs.
Do
So
y'all
also, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say this. Have y'all looked at the starters evolutions or the starters? Not evolutions. Sorry, shinies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
mid.
something. They're not. They're definitely not. Flake Coco's is kind of cool.
So which starter did y'all pick?
Oh, that's the funny thing is all three of us picked a different starter.
Really?
Unplanned and everything, yeah. I picked Quaxley.
Okay.
I chose
and then-
Fuecoco.
Yeah.
I originally wasn't going to pick. Like, I went from wanting Sprigatito to seeing the final evolution leaked on a Pokédex, making me not want to get it, and then kind of looking at the final evolution more, and it kind of started to grow on me compared to especially compared to the other three or the other two, and then I decided to pick Sprigatito after that because I kind of was like,
But-
I think compared to Skeledirge, I think Meowscarada's is cooler to me.
So my story on why I picked Quaxley was I was originally going to go Fuecoco, And then I was not a fan at all of Fuecoco's final evolution. It didn't even look like a Pokemon to me, I'm not gonna lie. It looked like some kid's like origami project from school trying to make a alligator. I don't know. But I loved Quaquaval, the final evolution of Quaxley. It was I just loved it. I had to once I found out what the final evolutions were, I changed my mind completely and went Quaxley.
I got technically my playthrough had both Quaxley and Scarlet, or Quaxley and Fuecoco. But yeah,
So did you like both of them, Bo?
I like all three of them, truthfully.
Mm.
Like, I would have probably not had an issue if I did a playthrough where I had Masquerada, Skeleturge, and Quaxoval.
Okay. Caleb, don't tell us your
Yes.
starter yet. Whichever one you picked is the superior one, and whichever one you pick is the one who wins.
Wait,
do we get a prize?
How's that work? Like, why?
'Cause we
why
each-
does mine
You're the
become-
special
we-
guest.
Yeah, because you're the
we
tiebreaker
each all
here.
picked one. We can't. You're the tiebreaker. We all picked a different one. So which one did you get?
Okay, well, whenever the games first got like announced or whatever, we first saw the starters. I was all about that freaking grass cat. I was like, hey, this. Why can I not remember its name? What is wait?
Sprigatito.
Is that what it is?
Sprigatito.
Sorry. Okay,
It
it's
literally
final
means
evolution.
Tito in Spanish literally means tiny. I think
I think.
or
they're about to show
cat.
the-
Tito might mean cat.
I think they're about to show the new Mario trailer at Game Awards. But so okay, it's so confusing to me because like you have that first evolution for like 30 minutes, and then it evolves in the second evolution, and then I've had Meowscarada for like over 100 hours. So it's really hard for me to like remember Sprigatito. But I got Sprigatito, and I freaking love it. I think it's really awesome.
Damned!
Oh man,
Spam!
what's up, guys?
Oh, screw you,
Big
you
L.
clown.
I knew Caleb had good taste. I always knew he did.
Yeah, I did like Quaxley a lot, and then when I saw the final evolution, I was like, well, that's a choice. But he's grown on me a little bit. You know, he's very zesty, and I think that's funny. I think that I kind of like have grown to like a lot of the Pokemon that put off a lot of people. Like one of my favorite Pokemon of all time is Bruxish, just because like everyone hates it and is like this thing sucks, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I like it. So I like Quackball. I think he's okay. I didn't want to pick him, but I mean, I think he's cool.
I feel the same way about Crabrawler and Crabominable. I love Crabominable, and everyone seems to hate it. I don't know why, but I thought it was a
Yeah.
pretty cool Pokemon, but apparently it's not very popular.
Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of favorites like that, Boop. Like don't you also like Pukamuku?
Everyone loves
favorite.
Pukamuku, though.
Well, and Booper, there was a tweet I think he had retweeted or something, and it was like what my favorite Pokemon were when I was a kid versus my favorite Pokemon now, and it is kind of like, and that is the truth for a lot of people. They go from liking like big, powerful looking Pokemon to liking the tiny, cute Pokemon, like the simple design, cute ones.
My favorite Pokemon as a child was stuff like Nidoking and Rhydon and stuff like that. And now some of my favorite Pokemon are Pukamuku and Mousehold. Those are two of my favorites now.
Dude, I
So-
love the little sushi Pokemon in this game. I
Oh,
love Tatsugiri.
Tatsugiri?
I wish that he was really good, like for the regular playthrough, but he kind of like just has like a weird gimmick
Used.
with the Donzo. So I
So
didn't get
what?
to use him very much.
What does everyone's team look like?
When we-
okay, so Booper's still going through it. What did the people that completed it? What did your team look like when you beat the champion? And then Booper, what does your team look like now? I guess is my question. So we can just go around.
So I had Skeleturge, Quaxoval. Shoot, who else?
Real quick, Mario's cake is looking a little bit better, Caleb.
Yeah, I have it on the monitor. I see he's going through a warp pipe right now. It looks crazy.
Yeah.
What else? So I had the pseudo legendary of the region, Baxcalibur. Kilowattrel, which I wasn't really planning on picking up, but actually, I was happy I did pick up. Tinkaton. What was my 6? Oh, and Crocodile.
Which I thought was such an obscure pick for you because you were trying to stick to the new.
I was trying
new
to stick to
Pokemon
but there was none of the new Pokemon,
that
like,
fit typing wise.
typing-wise, and also, like, that were left that I actually wanted to use. I mean, the next Pokemon that I would have done instead of Crocodile probably would have been Masquerada. I probably would have gotten the Sprigatito and
Well, and I'm surprised. Like, if you were looking for the typing, you could have used one of the Fort Treasure Pokemon because I think one of them is a ground
yeah,
type.
yeah, but that's too much work.
Yeah, I did have to put it for me to get Chimpao on my team. I kind of had to put in some work. But Caleb, what does your team look like?
So I don't really have like just a good team of just like 6 Pokemon because I know that y'all were talking about how like Cooper's at 30 hours and he hasn't beat the game at Tristan. You're around the same time you beaten the game. I didn't beat the Elite Four until I was 50 hours in because I love Breath of the Wild. I love exploring the open world. Some people are not like that. Some people want a more linear Pokemon game, but I love how open world this was. So I was going crazy. I was like, listen, I don't want to roll credits. I don't want to go to Elite Four until I'm like, I've seen everything. So I had a really cool Clodsire. I had the dot spun, the little dots and thing that's a fairy type. Yeah, I love it. It was cute. I got Tatsugiri. I used Mousehold. I got the little dung beetle. I had Rapska. I had it. Sorry, I'm just looking at my Pokemon right now. I had Ceruledge, which if you are playing Violet and you get Ceruledge, he literally just wins the game for you. He's so OP.
Yeah, I had to get rid of Ceruledge just because I wanted a. I figured a lot of people were going to use Ceruledge because his stats were just incredibly good.
Yeah, and like all of the Elite Four and like a bunch of the gym leaders are just super weak to him. So he was super good. And then I also had, of course, Meowscarada. I had a Bax Caliber for a little while. But yeah, I tried out a bunch of different Pokemon. I had a lot going on.
Booper, what does your team currently look like?
So my team right now is I have Quaquaval. I picked, as obviously I said, I picked Quaxley before. I have Mousehold. He's pretty much my go-to now. He's like way over leveled compared to the rest of my team. I recently, during my last play session, added Satitan to my team. I replaced it. Up until then, it was Tlockgx, but I kicked Tlockgx off the team. So, I have Clodsire. Who else did I have? I had.
Oh, did God of War Ragnarok just?
I think God of
Yeah,
War
I think it
Ragnarok
just
just
came out.
won.
Yeah, just got Game of the Year. Oh no,
way.
or is that music? These are literally the same nominees for Game of the Year, except for Plague Tale Requiem. Sorry, go ahead, Boob. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought it was Game of the Year.
What is the final form of Smoliv?
Oh,
It's
I don't-
Abolive, I think is.
I think it's Arboliva.
Or, yeah, something
Something
that.
Yeah, that's the one that's been on my team longest. Because I caught Smoliv like really early in the game, and he's just been on my team the whole time. So, he's like, I keep him out of just friendship, I guess. He's not even really that strong for me, really.
that's fair. I don't know. I like. I don't know. A Brawlova is a fun Pokemon. Definitely. I always appreciate when I'm doing like Pterodens and there's an Abarlova because that just means I get to live longer.
Mm-hmm.
So my team was Meowscarada, Tatsugiri, Chinpao, and let's see. I can't pull up my game right now.
Oh yeah, I forgot one. Ceruledge. I also have Ceruledge on my team. So those are my 6.
Annihilate. That was one that I used. Was Annihilate.
I thought about using Annihilate because when my chat told me that Primeape had an evolution, I was like, no way. And then my team was pretty much solidified by then, so I was like, because I've always loved it, Mankey. Every single time I've played through a Kanto game, I've always used Primeape on my team. Every single time. I don't know. He's one of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon, so I was excited for I also called what his evolution was. I was like, I don't know what he is yet, but knowing he's a ghost type, I'm gonna guess he got so angry.
I will say I can yeah, I can confirm that he did say that on stream without knowing what the evolution was. I remember him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's only 5. I'm trying to remember exactly the Pokemon that I used, but I will say I did end up using Tatsugiri. I really loved the design of Tatsugiri.
Same.
It really bugged me whenever I sent Tatsugiri. So I caught it kind of early. So I caught it when I was at level 40. I think was my highest level Pokemon. And Tatsugiri you can only find, I think, when it's level 50. So I couldn't actually use Tatsugiri for a while, and I also was over leveled too. So I couldn't use him for like 3 or 4 badges.
I
I had him on my
discovered
team and never sent him out. And then the first time that I sent Tatsugiri out, I almost cried a little bit because of the fact that half his body sinks into the ground.
Yeah, his
Because of
sprite he's a little broken.
Yeah.
Model.
So I think finally this last update fixed it. Because I did use. Did it not? I could have sworn when I sent him out, he was fine.
There are certain spots that are still fricked, like the gym where you fight Larry. That gym is just awful for the models. They always sink in for that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that it fixed it, but hey, they did take out the duplication glitch, so yay.
I don't know if that's
The one thing they fixed.
Yeah,
in the game
bro.
was-
They did
They
did
took out the
say
duplication glitch, and they made it where when our Pokemon falls asleep during battle, his eyes actually, or their eyes actually close.
Oh,
that's a good fix.
Yeah.
But I don't know if y'all follow Central Leaks. I'd imagine Caleb does for probably, but they did say that there was supposed to be another update out soon. I think was like a leak that would fix some bugs. So hopefully that does happen and Tatsugiri gets fixed, because it almost made me not want to use him, because like I was just like I loved his design and I can't even see it in battle. So
I just encountered Tatsugiri for the first time yesterday when I was playing. I didn't know he came in different colors.
yeah.
That was interesting to me.
He also
I saw
had-
like all 3 colors on the screen at the same time, and I was like, "Is one of these shiny? Why are there 3?"
Well, so since he has the 3, along with having the 3 different colors, he also has 3 different shinies.
Yeah,
because those are technically they're not technically, they're forms. So
Yeah, they're different forms, and
Is there what does the forms do besides being aesthetic?
so
Like-
they all play in the role of Dondozo in Tatsugiri, because Tatsugiri is a snack pretty much, and depending on which version of Tatsugiri Dondozo eats, one of Dondozo's moves, Order Up, gives him a different stat boost depending on which Tatsugiri he has in his mouth.
So I finally remembered what my
Interesting.
6 Pokemon were.
What?
Meowscarada, Annihilate, Tatsugiri, Chinpao, Revavroom, and Rabska
That's
were the
what
6
it was.
Pokemon I've been using.
Hey,
I
so
wanted to use Iron Valiant, but whenever I found out that you can't get the freaking Paradox Pokemon until much later,
yeah,
I was
they're all
very
post-game,
disappointed. Yeah.
which is sad. But okay, I'm curious. Did you get to use Rapska at all, Tristan? Because like
Mhm.
I love the Dung Beetle, and I was like, hey, like he evolves in this cool little beetle. It's like floating this orb in the air. That's so cool. I added him to my team, and I don't know if it's just because I had a Ceruledge or what, but I swear I used Meowscarada and Ceruledge. That's all I used. I'd never use anything else.
I
really.
used Rabska in the Psychic Gym. Or
Okay, 'cause-
yeah, the psychic one. She's psychic, right?
Yeah.
Tulip.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't
People
remember if
have
she was
asked me-
psychic or fairy.
But
Yeah.
people have asked me if Rapska is good because they see that I had it on the team, and I'm like, I have no idea. I've never used it. I don't even
I
know
thought
what
the
it does.
typing was good for I mean, Bug Psychic is pretty cool typing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So. But and I really love the design. The shiny on that one's sick.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all looked at that, but that one's really cool. Literally turns into like the golden dung beetle thing.
I did want to ask, since it was brought up. Well, part of it was brought up. Who's your guys' favorite gym leader?
Oh,
Ooh,
mine's
That's
Tulip.
really hard.
Dude, I really want to. I just want a poster of Tulip. I don't care what's on the poster. It could literally be something out of his NSFW channel or whatever.
Yeah, Tulip is hot. I will agree with you, but her eyes make her look a little bit too much like a brat stall, so it freaks me out a little bit. But
Oh, I love it. It's a great.
I think that there are a lot of one really positive thing about the game is I love the character design for everybody.
Everybody.
I love Larry. I think he's awesome.
The
I
king!
love
very.
Oh, hail the king!
I love all the Elite Four. I love Rika. She is hot. I love
Would y'all say
well, I don't wanna
that?
say
Would
who
y'all
else-
say that out of all the past games, this has like the most like best designed character, like memorable like gym leader character designs and things like that?
Yeah, it's up there for sure. I don't know if it's number one. I'd have to think about it.
I think it's really, really difficult because of who the champion is. I think the champion brings it all down a lot. I like her personally,
I hate
but I
the
don't
champion.
think she's a good champion.
I
at all.
hate the champion.
I think she's the one of the worst champions we've.
She is by far.
gotten.
She's not even one of them. She is the worst. There is not a
I think
single
her party
champion that is
probably,
worse than
and
her.
I don't. Booper's not got there yet, so.
Yeah, I don't
But-
want to spoil too much. I mean,
But
you
I
may
do
know,
think
but,
she
you
was
know.
the easiest champion I've fought, and I was actually at her level. I was not over leveled. I was literally right at her level, and I swept her with my team.
Yeah, it was rough.
But
But
I didn't need to
every
know
other,
what her team was gonna be.
Every other character to me, I love Arven. I love Nemona. I know those aren't gym leaders, but just their characters in the game.
Mhm.
I love-
You mean Goku?
They put a lot of
Goku, yeah.
effort into designing the characters in this game. I think the main character is one of the best designed main characters we've gotten in a while too.
You think so?
I personally think so.
I would.
I
would love
liked.
to
I
change-
kind
I'd
of
love to
liked.
change my outfit a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, character customization needs some work. I think.
I'm just saying, if
Hoping
Penny,
DLC gives us that option.
I'm just saying, if Penny doesn't have to wear a uniform, we shouldn't have to wear a uniform. You know
Dude,
what?
Team Star in general just doesn't have to wear. Not related, but Team Star in general doesn't have to wear a uniform.
Speaking of gym leaders, well, I recently just met the electric gym leader, Iona.
Oh,
I love Iona.
Yeah.
She might be. It's so close. It's either her or Larry. One or the other is probably my favorite.
Dude,
one so
everyone
far.
loves Larry.
Everyone loves
Look,
Larry.
Everyone
it's
wants
just
to be
because
the
we
Larry.
we all relate to Larry. You
But-
work your 9 to 5, you're exhausted, and you're just like,
It's so
ugh.
funny.
I should
because
probably like Larry since I'm such like I have like a freaking desk job. I should probably like feel
Exactly.
like I'm related to him or something.
The funny part about it is those two gym leaders are like complete opposites, and I love them both for what they are.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was gonna say is, for me with the gym leaders, I went so out of order. I didn't fight I was so over leveled for the electric and grass gyms. I fought the water gym as my second gym.
So that's a thing I wanted to talk about myself. So, and it's actually more to me. It's more of a strength for this game than it is a weakness. Which I mean, for it kind of give and take depending on how you look at it. The fact that there's no level scaling, but I actually went to the ice gym for my third to last gym badge instead of my my later gym badge.
I
and
think
the-
it's supposed to be the last, isn't it?
It's supposed to be the last. It's definitely the highest level gym
Yeah.
that you're supposed to fight. And I fought that gym with level 40 Pokemon, and I think I can't remember his name, but he's at like level
Russia?
almost 60. I think he might have a level 60 Pokemon.
Something like that.
The only reason I had to use like 7 revives and to get through that gym battle. I ended up getting through with Revavroom, but only barely because he has one Pokemon that has a ground type move. I don't know if Booper's fought the ice one, so I'm not going to tell him what Pokemon he had, but he did have a ground type move, and Revavroom was like fricked on that. So other than that, like I got through it, but I did that by accident. I did not know that was supposed to be the last one that you're supposed to do. Like, you don't know that until you fight it, which to me is a strength. I would much rather find that out on my own than the game tell me like, no, dude, you're not gonna get through this. Like, this guy's gonna wipe the floor with you. I would much rather find that out on my own because we keep bringing up Breath of the Wild, and it's just because that is kind of a bar that's been set for open world. But if you ever ran into a Guardian when you did not have more than like 3 hearts and did not have armor and did not have good weapons, that Guardian fricked you up. Like that happens in open world games. Like, that is a thing that happens. There's no level based things in Breath of the Wild, but there are still some power scaling type of things that happen in Breath of the Wild. So to me, it's a good thing that there is that possibility that you can run into something that is well beyond what you're leveled at.
Sounds like a skill issue, truthfully, but
It was a skill
See,
issue, man.
It's fun when you run into a gym leader and they're so over leveled and you're like panicking and all this stuff. It's funny and it's fun. It's disappointing when it's the other way around. You show up to a gym leader and you one shot everything they have, and then it was like that was not. So I guess it's like I don't know. I was kind of disappointed that I beat the grass and electric gym so easily because I wanted to
Right. That
feel the battle. I guess I don't know.
that's fair. I don't know. I guess maybe that's just kind of how the thing like we all said at the beginning, like how different each of our experiences was like going into the game. Like I had the entire mindset that I am putting this world beneath my feet and I'm standing on top of it because I am better.
Just go stand on top of the mountain peak.
Well, every single stream title you have was
Yeah,
I'm gonna
curb shop these kids. I am, and I did.
Which is fine. So like that's one of those things that like you played the game how you wanted to.
Right, like, and I think it suited it very well because like yeah, I'm looking at it. Time to curb stomp Charizard. Oh,
Pretty sure the last 5 stream titles have been time to curb stomp.
just a little bit.
But I do think that is one of the things that Pokemon did kind of understand. I think they still need to, it's not something they got right off the bat with the open world thing, but I do think that they stepped in the right direction a little bit in terms of how they understand how that works a little bit.
So would you guys have preferred if there were level scaling in the game? So like Nintendo Life, I think it was them. They did a video like, hey, some things that I think could improve the open world. So instead of like starting at the very bottom of the map and then you go up to the top and it gets harder, they like said, what if you start in the middle of the map? And it's like
I didn't even realize that that's how that's structured, and that makes total sense
what
now.
If you started in the very middle of the map and you could go to any of the gyms anywhere on the map, and no matter where you went, they would all have like level 10 Pokemon. And then you could go to the next gym, and like if they just like level scaled like that, so that way it would you would really have an experience where you could literally go anywhere.
I think map positioning is a big thing in open world where you start. So if you do look at not just Breath of the Wild, other open games too, Skyrim starts you in the middle as well. Breath of the Wild does start you in the middle. Just a little couple examples, but I think that if they're gonna do open world, they need to start you in the middle because, like you're saying, bottom to top, there's still like that general placement of like, easy stuff down here, hard stuff up here. If they randomly, sporadically kind of put everything out, I would much rather prefer that personally.
Go ahead, Bo.
I was just gonna say I was very. That was one of the things that almost made me not want to buy the game. Was the fact that they openly said there's going to be no level, like they're not going to curve the levels depending on how far you are in the game or anything like that. It was so I'm like, great, I'm going to accidentally go show up to the 8th gym leader like Tristan did, beat it, now I'm going to go actually fight the gym leader that I was supposed to fight in the first place.
I will say, I beat the Ice gym leader. I had not done Ghost and Psychic were the 2 that I was missing. And those were so easy. They didn't even, I don't even think they hit me. The Ghost one might have hit me just because it was double battles.
Right.
And they used, what's the Ghost type move that puts, it's like Dig, where they...
Shadow Force.
Shadow Snake.
Oh, they used Shadow Snake.
Sorry, maybe it's Phantom Force. Sorry.
Phantom Force. That's what it is.
Okay, well, regardless, that move, right? They used that, and that might have been the only reason they hit me. But other than that, like, I didn't have any issues with the other 2 gym leaders. So I agree. Like, I think that it is fun that it was a fun thing that happened that I found, or I went to the wrong one beforehand, but that gave me so much EXP between then and the next gym leaders that I was just like, oh, frick, like, this is going to be so easy. It balanced out a little bit because the Elite Four still was the same level for me. Titans too, I think. Well, no, Titans were easy.
Yeah.
I swept through the last Titan.
To be fair, the Titans were more of just kind of like more of a story-esque thing where you just kind of were getting
which I didn't
your
like
ability.
Personally. They made them. The battles reminded me of a boss battle.
Right.
They literally give you a giant health bar at the top. So why didn't it feel like an actual boss battle.
Because you one-shot it.
Yeah, like I one-shotted almost every single Titan that I fought, even after it used its Herba Mystica.
Really?
Pretty much.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I went out of order. So when I fought, the first Titan I fought was the bird, and that thing destroyed
Oh
me.
yeah,
the first
Bombardier
time
I think is
fought
like
it.
the third one. I think
Yeah,
you're
it's
supposed
the
to do.
third one. I fought that thing at level 19, and it destroyed me.
Booper, yeah.
I had the most trouble with Iron Treads because like once I realized that fighting the Titans gets you, it kind of unlocks the HMs for you and like lets you like go and climb and fly and swim. I was like, oh, well, I want to be able to explore, so I want to go get those first. So I didn't care about gym badges or the team star. I was like focusing on the Titans, and so I like got into some situations where I was like, okay, this thing's kicking my butt. I've got to like think and like develop a strategy here. So I definitely didn't one shot every single one of them.
When
Like
I
Pokey got
think
Tristan over here.
I think I had a typing thing. Like I think I had one in Pokemon that was just good against. I'm trying to see.
When around like what level did you fight your first Titan?
I didn't fight my first Titan for a while. I actually think I had done one Team Starbase, which was actually supposed to be the second. It was the second one. I did it first. I don't remember what type that was.
Oh, you did the.
Um,
I'm assuming you probably did the fire one first then.
I thought the fire one was first.
No, dark was
Fire
first.
dark.
The dark
Second,
one's
yeah.
first.
I did the dark one first. That is
Oh.
the one I did first.
Oh.
So I did do that one first. But and then I did 2 or 3 gym badges before I fought the first Titan, which I can't even remember who the first Titan is.
My Pokemon
First
were
one was
level
supposed to be
30.
Cloth, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
my Pokemon were level 30 before
Oh,
I fought
Cloth. Now I
Cloth.
remember. Yeah, I did one shot Cloth. Because you fight him all twice.
Okay, yeah,
Cloth
that
got
was.
absolutely annihilated by Meowscarada.
I,
Especially because I had Flower Bloom by that
Yeah.
point. So like that was helping me one shot a lot of them too.
I fought Cloth like the third one. It was the third one I fought because
Jesus Christ.
the second one I fought was Iron Treads. That was the second one I fought.
You
Jeez.
hate yourself.
Okay, this is the order I've gone so far. I fought the bird first. I can't remember what the bird's name is.
Bombardier.
I fought the Iron Treads second. Then I fought Cloth, and then I fought Orthworm. That was the order I've done so far. And
Orthworm is
Orthworm,
supposed to be second, I think, right?
Orthworm and Cloth were so easy, but both times I fought the other two, they destroyed me.
So,
The first time at least, I beat them both my second attempt.
the level order was you fight Cloth first, and then you could fight either Orthworm or Bombardier. They're both at the same exact level. It's just a matter of which side of Paldea you went at the time. So that then it went to Iron Treads or Great Tusk, as I am the odd man out here and chose the better version. And then you have your False Dragon Titan. Because I don't think Booper's fought that one yet.
I was going to last night during my live, and then I realized you have to be like level 50. So
Yeah,
I did have a. I
had
don't
to
think
leave.
I don't know if I one shotted.
that one was a little rough. Not gonna lie. I don't know.
Yeah, that one. I think it was mostly the stat boost. that
Great
got me.
Tusk actually like screwed me over. Cause I don't even know why I had a Torkoal on my team for a moment, just because I was leveling up Pokemon, and
What typing is? Because I know Iron Treads is ground steel. So what's?
ground fighting is Great Tusk.
Oh.
But here's the thing. You remember when we were doing the Charizard raids, Tristan, and when
Yeah.
Charizard set up Sunny Day and activated all of our Fluttermane's abilities?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
photosynthesis.
yeah,
Or
I didn't.
photosynthesis,
Yeah,
sorry.
I didn't know that was Great Tusk's ability.
Oh, you did.
And he absolutely steamrollered me because his attack got so high that no matter how much faster I was than him, he took the hits fine, and he hit me back even harder. So I actually
I don't
got
know, Bo. That sounds like a skill issue.
that was a skill issue, and I was so upset I wasn't live at that time when I fought him because I was just sitting in my couch just catching Pokemon for the decks, and I fought him on accident because I walked in right on him.
I did run into Iron Treads early and backed off. I didn't even have Meowscarada yet. I had the next evolution, the middle evolution.
But it was hysterical thinking, oh yeah, I got this.
Or-
Torkoal is in the front by accident. He sets up the sunny day drought, and next thing I know, I'm about to get steamrollered by an absolute behemoth of a Pokemon.
So here's a funny thing for me, a funny story about Iron Treads. I didn't know. Well, here's two stories. Is I didn't know that you were able to catch him after you beat him. So I was like several gyms farther into the future, and then I'm just playing, and I brought up Iron Treads, and like, what, you didn't, my chat's like, what, you didn't catch Iron Treads? I was like, I didn't know you could catch him. So I went all the way back, and I just see him standing there, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll catch him. And then I walk up to him, and I'm trying to run at him, and I guess you had to press A or something. I'm like, why can't I get closer to him? Why can't I battle him? But then you just had to talk to him. But yeah, I did not know you could catch Iron Treads until like 10 hours after I beat him into the game. So I also didn't know anything about Titans then. I thought that bird was just, I didn't pay attention to Arvin's part of what he was telling me at the start of the game. So I just came across one giant.
Hey!
Meanwhile,
Is that a shiny?
That's a shiny.
y'all
Look
are
at
looking
this-
at his shiny. I'm looking
look
at his
at this-
Joy-Cons.
Look at this good boy I just got.
Yo, hey, that was my first shiny.
That's it. I was gonna say, Bo got that one like 2 hours in.
Literally the
Did you
second,
get in the wild?
second I finished the tutorial, I jumped off the bridge and I accidentally landed on it.
Really?
Yeah,
I-
I've been egg hatches.
No, that's the first one that I've tried, and I was only hatching eggs like during this podcast. So
You could be like
that
Seth
wasn't too hard.
and get shiny Tinkatink in like 659 eggs or something like that.
So far, I've got just in the wild, just randomly, I found a shiny Espartha, a shiny Scatterbug, a shiny Halucha, a shiny Heracross, a
Oh,
shiny Rookity, and a shiny Dodonzo.
yeah, it was Hatch. Gosh,
No.
I tried to shiny hunt for Dondozo. Instead, I got a Choodle.
I think
She
the
was
only
kinda
shiny I've gotten. The only shiny I've got in the game is Palmy. That's the only one I've gotten so far.
I have a shiny Palmy.
Yeah. I like shiny Palmy. A lot of people don't like Palmy and its evolution, but I don't mind it. I think it's pretty good.
I love Palmy's like middle evolution. I think it's Palmot. Because Wind had one on her team, my girlfriend, and it was just so cute because when she was sent out in battle, it just stands there with its arms like this, and it looks so cute.
No, Palmo. It's Palmo.
Oh, Palm.
Yeah, Palma is the
okay,
final
Palmot is
evolution.
the final one. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been trying to shiny hunt for a Roaring Moon. I have found shiny Zweilous. I have found shiny Gibble. There's no other dragon types besides the three of them, and it just won't spawn. Give me the one I want.
So speaking of that, I guess, do y'all wish that shiny sparks were a sound effect that you could see when you're running across open world, or do y'all think that it's fine the way that it's handled in the game as it is?
I hate that I missed a shiny. I also think that I've probably passed several shinies and I just didn't know, because for one, I don't know what any of the shinies of any of the new Pokemon look like, and for two, I don't really pay a lot of attention to stuff like that, so I have no idea.
I kind of really wish that the sound was there, because it's like, well, there's so many shiny. Well, not only is there like shinies that are hard to tell just by a naked eye, there's Pokemon that are absolutely minuscule. Like, you can't see them until you accidentally run into it.
That's also kind of annoying, because I'll be running max speed through the forest or something, and then I'll run onto what is it called? Fungus.
I ran into a lot of
Those things
fungal.
are so small.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought it was
Oh my
called
gosh.
fungal. Isn't it called fungal? Or am I thinking of a different Pokemon?
I think-
I don't think
Did I-
there's a
did I-
Pokemon named Fungal.
No,
Dude, I just came up with a whole new
You're
Pokemon.
thinking of a Digimon, Tristan.
probably. But no, it's just like I'm okay with these tiny details for shiny. I'm not. I want a very clear difference between my shiny Pokemon.
Fungus.
Yeah,
Fungus. Is
but-
that what you said, Boop?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
I thought he said a Mungus. I thought he was
said
talking about the
Fungus,
evolution.
and then you're like Fungal. Its name's Fungal.
But like, if they're gonna
That's
have
the
it,
DLC Pokemon.
if you're gonna have Pokemon with such minuscule details on how they're shiny, like, you kind of have to have the sound so people can actually find it. because like Seth is a key example of this. Seth has missed out on like 12 shinies in his playthrough. He walked past the shiny Smoliv. He's walked past, like, he's just walked past these Pokemon. He thought a shiny Lechonk was just a female version of Lechonk. So he missed out on a shiny.
That's tragic.
I personally think that the shiny sound effect should come back too, just because of the only reason I think that it should come back is because of the towns, because you can reset all spawns just by going into towns, and
yeah.
sometimes people accidentally go into towns, and then all your any shiny that would have been there, you completely missed it, and it's gone now forever.
Despawns, yeah.
Well, and I mean that's just with us.
I brought that up during my live last night because I was walking towards this group of Pokemon, and I was gonna battle one of them, and then a cutscene started because apparently it was in an area where I was supposed to go to progress the story, and all those Pokemon would have disappeared. I was like, if one of those was a shiny, I would have just lost that forever.
Yeah.
Because of the cutscenes.
No.
But I mean, that's not really a thing about them appearing in the overworld. There's nothing you can really do about that. It's just how the game works, I guess. But sometimes, the cutscenes can destroy your chances of catching a shiny.
So I was gonna say that I guess maybe I have a little bit of a hot take. So the only reason that I do wish they're in the game is for accessibility, because there are a lot of people who have visual impairments like color blindness and stuff. That it would help them a lot because like y'all are saying, a lot of the shiny Pokemon look very similar to their regular form, like Mousehold and Tandemaus. So I completely get it for accessibility, and I think there should be a colorblind mode, and they should think more about people who have visual impairments. But me personally, I don't really care. I loved it in Legends Arceus, but as I just listed for y'all, all the shiny Pokemon that I found, I haven't really had any issues. Maybe I've been lucky, and every Pokemon that I've seen is a very, very
stand out.
Yeah, very easily to stand out. But
that
I've already
know of.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I've already gotten so many, and I'm just happy with the ones that I've gotten. That even if I've walked past a few, it's well, I mean, if it's a shiny that I really want, I'll hunt for it, like that Mareep,
Right.
And there's definitely two sides to it, right? There's definitely two sides. I think that there is the good aspects, like you're saying, of hearing the sound, but Legends Arceus was one of the easiest shiny hunting games you can play.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it might be the easiest, but it's definitely one of the easiest. I think X and Y was also really easy too, wasn't it? I think the shiny odds in that game were really low.
It wasn't really, really easy. I think Legends Arceus is probably the easiest that's been.
Okay.
If not this new game.
I just remember I didn't shiny hunt I've never really been a shiny hunter, so I'd never really paid attention. I just think I had remember seeing somebody talk about how X and Y's I think it was the eggs possibility shiny was really low.
I knew about the Poke Radar, and I tried that a few times. I never had any luck with it, but I tried it.
I do think that getting rid of the sound effect adds that oomph to finding it. It's such a big deal now when you find it, because it was really hard to find it. And I think that shiny hunting is better in this game in that aspect than it was in Legends Arceus, because it felt like everybody, and I mean everybody, was getting shinies in Legends Arceus. And if everybody's getting shinies, it's not as special.
There was nothing impressive about having a shiny in Arceus.
Yeah, because it was such a common thing. I mean, it might depend on your odds too. It's still odds that it's gonna appear in front of you, but it definitely was easier.
I don't know. I guess I just have had such terrible shiny luck in the past that it doesn't matter.
Literally, your luck in Legends Arceus and in this game have been insane. That maybe that's why your game is crashing.
You're probably, but
being too lucky.
But in the past, there's been times where, I remember this. I'm playing Black and White, and I'm playing through. And so my brother's like, "Yeah, hey, can I play for a little bit?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I give him the DS, and I walk away, go get food or something, and he's like, "Hey, Bo, can you come here?" He found a bloody shiny I wasn't even away for less than 5 minutes. He found a shiny, and I'm like, this is not fair. I can't find one. I have never found a shiny until they've made it practically free. They're free to find.
Legends Arceus was the third
That-
game that I've actually found a shiny by accident. I found a shiny Growlithe in Sun and Moon by accident when I was only playing like 10 hours in, I think. I can't remember the towns in Sun and Moon, but it was like the first or second town you go to.
right.
It kind of blows my mind that I've heard so many stories of people that have been playing Pokemon their whole life and have never found a shiny. Because I've full odds between all the Pokemon games probably found at least 15.
I have not.
I find
close to that.
I've found maybe 1 to 2 shinies full odds in almost every single Pokemon game. I've ever
Literally,
played.
the first time I ever seen a shiny in my entire life, I didn't even know what the frick a shiny was because I wasn't. So we didn't, dude, guys. I grew up in the boonies. We didn't have internet. Like I did not know what a shiny was. I ran into a shiny Machop in Leaf Green, in Victory Road or Indigo Plateau, and I thought my game was glitched, and I killed the shiny because I didn't know that it was a special type of Pokemon. Like I didn't know that was a special Machop.
Oh, Machop.
Yeah,
Oh,
Machop.
his shiny kind of sucks, doesn't it?
It's green.
My first shiny I ever caught was Venonat in Fire Red, and it was in the Safari Zone, so it could have ran away.
Venonats is one that
Luckily,
doesn't change much, I don't think, right?
His eyes turn blue. He gets like these like
Oh,
royal
okay.
blue eyes, so it's actually pretty all right. But I caught it in the Safari Zone, which is scary. I didn't know what a shiny was either. I just knew it was something special because it looked different. So I was like, I got to catch this. This has got to be rare. So I caught it, and then later on I find out what shinies are. But yeah, it was lucky because it could in the Safari Zone Pokemon can run away, so I could have lost that shiny. But they didn't have like what they have now, where if you send your Pokemon after a shiny, it won't attack it or something. If you messed up back then, you lost the shiny.
I didn't run into another shiny in my entire life of playing Pokemon that I'm aware of. Even playing, I might have ran into one in Oraz and I caught it because it's been a while since I looked at my decks in Oraz. I played a lot of Oraz. I think I put maybe 100 hours maybe in Oraz. But is to my knowledge, the next time I ran into a shiny was Sun and Moon when I caught Growlithe. So it took me almost, that would be like what, 15 years, right?
Right.
10 to 15 years before I ran into a shiny again.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. And I didn't play Black and White, but I did play Diamond and Pearl all the way through. And I did play Platinum all the way through. And X and Y and Oraz, so...
See, I wonder, because like I said, for me, I've found at least one shiny in every Pokemon game I've ever played. I wonder if I just go in the grass and stuff more often than normal players do.
I never really was one to do a whole lot of wild battling.
Yeah.
I just kind of like played to get gym badges.
So, see, for like me, every time a new Pokemon game comes out, I want to find out every single Pokemon that is new in the game. So I go where you can catch every Pokemon in each area.
And maybe
So
that's
I go
why
in the
more
grass a
people.
lot.
And maybe that's why more people found it in Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet because,
There's no grass spawns.
sorry, I got thrown off because I'm looking at the Lo-Fi girl.
Yeah, I think she's in Rocket League.
Oh, frick,
Yay.
she sure is. Her cat is, and everything. That's cool. Anyway, yeah, I think that might have something to do with it. Is the fact that you're catching a lot more Pokemon in Legends Arceus and in Scarlet and Violet because you see them, right? You're not thrown for a surprise. Like you're not constantly grinding wild battles, and there's not also that whole thing of loading and stuff like that going into a wild battle.
This one though is different that I'm about to say. The rarest shiny I've ever caught is. Do you guys know in the Soul Silver and Heart Gold, there's that part of the game where there's a Sudowoodo blocking your way, and you have to get the water bucket to make it move.
Yeah.
That was shiny for me. That Sudowoodo.
Really?
That was the rarest shiny I like. I
Your
think
first
I ever got.
encountered with it too, like it was.
My first ever playthrough of Soul Silver, it was shiny.
That's crazy.
I wasn't shiny hunting it or anything.
Do y'all wish that legendaries were not shiny locked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
it'd be cool.
starters are also shiny locked too, right?
Like
And
I mean, I
then-
guess when you pick them, not whenever you're hatching eggs.
Yeah. I think the starter thing doesn't really bother me because, like you said, you can breed them. I mean, it's kind of lame that they can't be shiny, but like I think like every Pokemon should have at least some chance of being shiny, even if the legendaries is like they're a higher percent or like a higher odds than a normal Pokemon. There should at least be some kind of way to have them be
Oh, and they're
shiny.
usually used to be, right? Just because of the fact that you're not doing wild encounters to get legendaries. I think that had something to do with it because you literally have to keep running, like you're just interacting with the same one. I think there was something that
Yeah,
went into
you
that.
gotta like reset the game and stuff.
Yeah, like it just makes it harder.
what do you think, Caleb?
Oh, I was just gonna say, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think that Game Freak just wants the people to start playing the game because you always see these horror stories on social media whenever a new Pokemon game comes out, and people will be like, "Guys, I've been looking for a shiny Piplup for 50 hours. I haven't even started the game yet."
I feel
And
like
that's
you're
literally-
talking about a specific person.
Okay, well that's literally what happened to me.
It's a
But it
good
happens to
example.
so many
It's a
other
good
people, too.
example.
Whenever BDSP came out, the first 30 hours of that piece of crap, I was trying to get a shiny Piplup, and I never got it. I gave up. I was like, look, like it's been 2 weeks, and I just want to start this game, So I think that like they just want everyone to like start the game, and like obviously, once you get the shiny charm and you get a nice Ditto, it's not that difficult to breed for a shiny. The shiny legend or the shiny lock on the legends, it doesn't really bother me, but I mean, I guess that it's annoying for some people.
I just think it's because it's really normally if you ever get a chance to get the shiny legendary, the only time you're going to be able to get it is if they do a event where you have to go to like GameStop and pick up a card and
Yeah,
Which I think
the
is-
way they do events now too is so
I don't
lame.
like
They
it.
used to have like stories to where how you got the like
yeah.
mythicals and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, BDS or not BDSP. Sorry, Diamond and Pearl literally had like some of the coolest ones that I can remember of going and get like Darkrai and stuff
Mhm.
like that. They had
And
such cool interactions with the
and-
mythicals and stuff.
Yeah, now it's just like you type in a code and it's in your party. And that's just all there is to it.
Right.
It was like almost kind of like DLC, a little extra DLC adventure. Like I used Victini as on my main team when I played through Black and White and it wasn't a whole lot, but there was something there. You had to go catch the Victini and stuff. You didn't just give it handed to you. And they don't do that anymore.
Well, and then like one year, it was for their 20th anniversary. They literally gave out like every single mythical
Yeah.
that has ever existed in Pokemon for you to go get at GameStop. So like my copy of Sun and Moon has every single mythical that has ever existed up to that point. I don't have like Zarude and I don't think I ever got the electric cat. I can't remember his name.
Zeraora.
yeah.
Yeah, Zeraora. I missed that one, I think. Even though that happened that year. I think I missed that one. I think it happened that year.
Their events are pretty frick. They're awful at this point.
So one of the things I meant to bring up when we were still talking about gym leaders is the soundtrack in this game is amazing. That's probably one of the best parts of the game. I love
Toby
the-
Fox is he's
Yeah,
a
I
whole nother
was
breed of
gonna-
people.
I love the one of my personal favorites is when you're fighting the gym leaders, when they terrestrialize their Pokemon, the song that plays.
Right.
The sound it's very similar to the like Dynamax song that the gym leaders
Yeah.
have, only it's just like a better version, I think. It's got a better melody. Every time that comes on, it's a great song.
They also incorporated one thing I really love about doing things in open world games where you have different tones. Animal Crossing. Maybe Breath of the Wild is the only one I know of that does this, but they have slowed down versions of town themes, wild area themes at night than they do during the day. Which it's a little thing, but I enjoy when they do things like that.
I think that's technically called like dynamic songs, where I think that the wild Pokemon like battle theme is different depending on what region you are. It's still like the same like theme, but if you're in like the mountains, it sounds a little bit more like rugged and whatnot. So I do love all the dynamic music, and also Booper, I know that you haven't got to the Elite Four yet, but the music for the Elite Four and Champion is really, really awesome. As long as you don't get the glitch, but they thankfully fixed the glitch.
Yeah.
Bo and Tristan, did y'all have the glitch with the music whenever you fought?
Dead silent.
Really?
Is
It
that-
happened for
is that
you?
silent?
Is that the
wasn't-
glitch? It's just silent the whole
I-
time.
Well, it
don't-
wasn't silent. It was the first like 5 notes of the song. They're like hyping up and building up the song. The song never started. It would just repeat
Yeah.
those same 5 notes over and over again. And I was
I
like,
just
Something
okay.
that would happen in
Yeah,
like
I
an
was like,
insane
I was like,
asylum.
when is this like beat gonna drop? Like, what's going on here? Like, it
Yeah.
happened with
That's such a
my-
cock tease.
Yeah, it happened with the very first
I'm
Elite Four
gonna.
member. And then I,
I'm
and
gonna
then I
have to
went and
look
looked-
this up.
Yeah, I went.
Yeah,
and
you
looked
can't
up,
get it
and-
now.
yeah, they fixed it in that new patch. But
I
yeah,
never had any issues. I saw that. I think it mostly happened if you closed the game before you played, right? Before you fought the champion.
I thought you were about to say it mostly happens if you use the duplication glitch and got 9 million Poké$.
Did it happen to you?
Yeah, it happened on my first Elite Four member.
I don't know. I think
Dang. Yeah, I
I-
never had any issues with the Elite Four music.
they shouldn't have a cap in money.
Is there a cap?
Yeah, you can't go past 10 mil.
That's so lame.
I think it's
You
so
should be able to
dumb.
go as high as you can keep
10
earning
mil?
money.
Yeah, you can't go past 10 mil.
Huh.
Which I think is so dumb because it's like
I got pretty close to that, but I didn't.
I was gonna say
So-
Caleb just barely didn't almost figured that out. Like he almost just figured that out himself. He just got so close.
What would I have to search to find this music glitch? Because
Probably
that actually
just-
sounds hysterical to me.
Here, I
I
can
want to
find
look
it
it up
for you.
after the podcast or something.
Probably just
I think,
champion
Elite
music glitch.
Four music glitch, I guess. But are you not worried about spoilers for the Elite Four?
I mean, it's not too big of a deal for me. Like,
I'll make
I
sure
mean,
that the video I send him doesn't have a certain thing in it.
Okay. All right. So a topic that I wanted to bring up and talk about is how do you guys feel about terrestrialization? I don't remember if it was during the podcast or before the podcast, but we were talking a little bit about the gimmicks and like mega evolution stuff. How do y'all feel about the new gimmick of this generation?
I'll be really truthful. The hats have grown on me a little bit. When I first saw it, I'm like, this is so stupid. The hats? But I think it's kind of insane on how powerful terrestrializing is. I think it's the best of 2 worlds of what Dynamax was and like Z moves.
yeah, it's so weird to me because the way I saw it is people really liked Mega Evolution. And then when they traded that off for Z moves, because it was more balanced, I guess, everyone was mad. So for me, it kind of felt like the Dynamaxing and the stuff and the what was the other form? Dynamaxing and the other Gigantamaxing. That was kind of like the in between. You're kind of mega evolving your Pokemon, but it was mostly just like using Z moves over and over. It was kind of like a mix between the two. So I thought that was like their compromise. And then when they went with terrestrializing, it's both kind of annoying and interesting to me because I feel like when you're just Dynamaxing your own type, like a lot of Pokemon just terrestrialize, I meant. When you terrestrialize your own type, it's just kind of like Z moves again.
Right.
But whenever they're the ones that can change their type, that's really cool. And it's also kind of like frustrating sometimes because I won't know what to expect when I've done some online battles with my viewers before, and sometimes they'll just change types or something. I'm just like, what the heck? I feel like it's a weird competitive is really getting weird now because I don't know if you guys have paid attention, but there's so many ridiculously broken Pokemon in competitive from Gen 9. There's like 8 or 9 that are like absolutely broken.
Yeah,
and it's weird.
I've been doing a lot of competitive, and it's really fun, but it is really crazy. Like what you're able to do with terrestrialization. Like for instance, like Gyarados, for instance, has never been like super duper good because he always has that 4 times weakness to electricity. But he can go Terra Ground now and start firing off some earthquakes and get like stab ground damage.
Oh, it's so
and then also be completely immune to electric attacks. It's really crazy. But how do you feel about terrestrialization, Tristan?
I've never really been involved competitive wise. in
Well,
Pokemon.
I just mean like in your normal playthrough of the game. Like,
I
did you like it?
enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think it was as standoutish as gimmicks we've had in the past. I think a lot of people didn't like it, but I think Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing was borderline almost as standoutish as Mega Evolution to me. Just because of the fact that it made the Pokemon huge, which is really cool to me. And it also gave some Pokemon really neat forms with the Gigantamaxing portion of it. The terrestrialization part of it, or the terrestrialization doesn't really add that to it. It doesn't make a Pokemon unique like Mega Evolution and Gigantamaxing did, because every single Pokemon can do it. I get the like mentality of behind like the competitive scene, like battling it, like it just opens up so many routes that you can take. Like just because I don't play it doesn't mean I don't understand how that works. Like that can really throw people for loops. The fact that I mean they even show that in the story with the gym leaders literally having completely different type Pokemon than their gym's supposed to have, and they'll just terrestrialize into it. You know, like, so, I mean, they know, like, even Pokemon knows, like, this is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be, you know, it throws a wrench into the whole mix of what is going on in terms of types. So, but I think that it's not, like I said, not as standoutish to me. And I also kind of wish it had more, so I don't know if y'all, like, if maybe this is something y'all notice, but to me, whenever I Mega Evolve or I use Gigantamaxing, they make it look so, like, powerful. They make it, like, they're just, the sound design, the actual visual design of it, they make it look like it's such a big thing that's happening. But whenever I terrestrialize my Pokemon, it didn't feel that way to me. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot
like-
of times where you terrestrialize and your Pokemon just faints after one hit. You just take one hit and you're done.
And even just, like, the build-up to it, to me, isn't, like with the Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing, your, like, wrist thing makes the Pokeball, like, you know, 10 times larger than it's supposed to be, and you have to, like, chuck it over your head like a big rock. And then, like, with the Mega Evolution, it has, like, the DNA symbol, and then your Pokemon sometimes gets bigger. Y'all know how Mega Evolution works, so, like, that's what I
Wait,
kind of get.
how does it work?
Getting it. Huh?
How does it work?
What do you mean?
How does
Oh,
that
you don't
happen?
know how it works?
No.
You need to go play the games.
Shit. But yeah, no, I don't know. That's kind of exactly how I feel. I feel like it's nothing special, but in a competitive standpoint, I think it's huge. It's making bad Pokemon good.
Yeah, I think it's huge for a competitive scene.
Yeah, I've been. Do you guys know Wolfie? Do you
Yeah.
know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was making videos about how
Don't mind me,
there
I'm
are
just gonna have to
some
look up Wolfie real quick.
there are some bad Pokemon that are becoming good. Like he made a video on TikTok recently about ice types, how bad they used to be, and how big the terrestrializing will be for a lot of ice type Pokemon because they can change their type that is normally really one of the worst types in the game and make these Pokemon actually really good. But yeah, that competitively from that standpoint, it is probably, it's up there with Mega Evolution as probably the most like meta defining, because I like it personally more than Mega Evolution from a competitive standpoint. I'm not a competitive player, but I like watching competitively. And when Mega Evolution was a thing, it like took over everything. Like every team had a Mega Evolution Pokemon. You saw like the same like 20 Pokemon in everyone's team. And now with Terrestrialize, that's why I liked Z moves and Dynamaxing and stuff, because with every Pokemon
Z moves
can do
too.
that.
That's
Yeah,
that's one thing I like too. With Z moves.
You don't have to limit. You don't have to have like certain Pokemon to use the new gimmicks. Every Pokemon can Terrestrialize, and every Pokemon can use Z moves and stuff like that. So that's the positive about it.
I think it's funny that they went from Mega Evolution lasting on your Pokemon until the battle's over to trying to do something more nerfed where you can only do it once. And then they're just like, well, maybe we made Z moves maybe we made the gimmick too weak. So then they're just like, well, we'll make it last 3 turns. So Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing only last 3 turns. And then now they're just like, all right, we're gonna go back to Mega Evolution and just make it absolutely busted again.
Yeah.
I think it's like Z moves, but it's pretty much just Z moves. aside from the type changing thing, but you can use it every turn, pretty much, is all it really is. And that you kind of reminded me, something I was gonna say was that I think it's kind of lame from like the main time, like the story of the game, not like competitively, but like when you're playing through the game, how they limit the gimmicks now, because like with Z moves and Mega Evolution, you could use that on any random wild Pokemon on any trainer anytime you wanted. But with like the Gigantamaxing, you could only do that in the gyms. And then like with the terastallizing, you can only use it once, and then you have to go back to the Pokemon Center every time,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of boring. I don't know.
I
Or it's kind of
forget.
annoying.
I forget
maybe.
to terastallize in half my major battles, and I just kind of.
Oh my gosh, me too. I don't understand. I fought like 3 gym leaders without terastallizing at all. I forget that you can do it sometimes because
I
you're never
mostly
gonna
just-
use it. You only get to use it once per Pokemon Center visit.
Most of the time I went into the gym leaders knowing that okay, you're gonna use electric, so I'll counter that.
Yeah.
So like there were times where I just terastallized just to say like, oh, I just annihilated this person with a 4-time stab or something like that, or
Right.
however that stab. I think it's maybe no, it's 2 times with a regular stab, so it'd be 4 times. It's the same type, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, I just did it mostly just to annihilate the gym leader. There were rarely have I ever used terastallization to actually beat somebody in the story wise portion of the game.
Right. So with that being said, as we've been going on for a little bit, one thing I do want to talk about is what is something that you want to see in the future, like Gen 10.
In 10, not like patched in this game.
No, I
Hmm.
I mean, like, I feel like there's patches.
We could
that
talk
they do.
about maybe just for a little bit the near future of Scarlet and Violet, if y'all would. be
Sure.
okay
I
with
would
that.
love it if my boxes would load way quicker.
I do
It-
think that is
it
some
pisses me
crap.
off.
So
so
bad.
And it pisses me off so much whenever I go to change clothes and I'm like, okay, is this hat gonna load? Like, I don't even know what it looks like.
Well, I've
And you
had
have to sit
instances where
there-
the game like loads and it crashes my game.
Really.
I've had an
Yeah.
instance where that's happened.
When it comes to hatching eggs, to get ready for competitive or for shiny hunting, the PC, the boxes are ridiculous. It is insane.
On trading
Yeah.
too, your box doesn't load when you're trading.
Yeah,
It takes forever. It reminds me of Smash Ultimate's roster screen. If you go down to
Yeah.
Sora, when you boot up the roster screen, it takes you like
Yeah.
at least like 2 minutes before it finally loads in his alts.
Like the first half loads like immediately, and then the second half of the roster you gotta wait like 30 seconds before you can see anything.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of it's similar.
And that might be, since that's a common issue, I think, with a lot of games, load times, that might be a hardware issue. That might not be a
But-
software thing.
No, but I mean, in Pokemon Sword and Shield and in Legends Arceus, well, Legends Arceus might have loaded a little bit in the PC, but Sword
It's
and Shield, I
different
think,
with
had
Legends since-
had no issue.
Legends didn't have the same type of box, though. So that might have been a little different.
It is weird how all the menus will come up in Scarlet and Violet, and like technically everything is still happening in the background. You can still see it like through the menus, you know. So
Seth
I don't
just
know.
wants master releases back.
yes, Seth. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. While we've been talking, it's like I just got my shiny Marie. I still have like 60 other eggs that it's gonna force me to hatch. I can't just get
Yeah.
rid of those.
And
Is that was that in Legends Arceus where you could just
Yeah,
where
you could just
hatch, like
master
multiple
these.
eggs at
Well,
once?
eggs didn't exist in Legends Arceus.
you could just, but you caught like before you
Yeah,
got
you-
your
you
shiny, you
have to.
caught like 50 Bidoofs to get the one shiny.
Oh,
Bidoof.
I see what you're saying. I see what
So
you're saying.
like you're like, well, I don't want 50 Bidoofs, so you could release the one.
Well, and that
Bidoof.
kind of goes with the whole catching mechanic of Legends Arceus, like
Right.
because the catching was so easy. Like, I think that if they want to bring the catching back, but not make it to where you catch multiple versions of the same Pokemon, then they should add more Pokemon. But then, then you have more Pokemon you have to catch to complete the dex. So I don't know.
I think like the performance things, I like that. I'm interested to see the new Pokemon that they bring back. This is my hot take. I am so sick and tired of people bitching about the fact that Pokemon games don't have the national dex. I'm so sick and tired of it. I think it's fine. Who needs? There's almost 1,000 Pokemon in the game.
We all kind of know that it's just people. They don't really want the national dex. They just want their favorite
Right.
Pokemon in the game.
Right,
That's
but-
all they want.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm happy. I feel like people make a too big of a deal of like, oh, this only has 400 Pokemon in the decks. This is the first time in my entire life playing Pokemon that I've ever completed a Pokédex. Ever.
Also, it is a weird complaint because in every Pokemon game prior, you couldn't catch every Pokemon until after you beat the game anyways. You didn't unlock the national dex until either you beat the game or you completed the dex of that game. So most of the playthroughs, people don't get their favorite Pokemon anyways. So I do think it's a weird complaint.
right.
I guess for like, because like usually it's just mostly for like online battles is all they want their Pokemon, the national dex for. Because no one really goes out and completes their national dex. I think it's all. I don't mind people complaining about it because I get some people like to have every Pokemon, but like a mass majority of most of the fans are just complaining to complain at this point.
Right.
So I
How do
agree
you
with that.
how do you feel, Caleb?
Well, I'm on both sides of it. Absolutely, like actually. So when Boop said that no one like really wants to go get the national decks, I did just like actually complete my complete living decks like right before Scarlet and Violet came out, and it was really annoying that I couldn't just somehow do it in All Sword and Shield. But I do not care at all, you know, if Scarlet and Violet come out and Charizard's not in the game. I don't care. I mean, hey, kill Charizard. I don't need him. Take him out. Take him out in the streets and beat him. I don't care. And then also I love it for competitive to have a smaller pool of Pokemon. Right now, one of the most used and one of the most powerful Pokemon is Murkrow, because Murkrow gets the hidden ability Prankster and is able to set Tailwind really quick. And
It's so.
it's such a stupid like little tiny it's a tiny little Pokemon. Like, why is Murkrow one of the most used Pokemon? You know, if we had the full 1,000 Pokemon, no one would be running Murkrow. You know, like
Right. There's so many other Pokemon.
so there's so many cool strats people are able to use whenever we do have a smaller decks. I don't care about being able to like catch them all, but it would be really cool if I could bring up my like my Samurott that I call back in Pokemon Black, that is just literally sitting in prison right now in Pokemon Home. Like I have Pokemon Home on my Switch. I have all these Pokemon that I have memories with that, you know, I've brought back from like Pokemon Sapphire, and I can't just like put them in the new game and just like use them. I don't need them for competitive or anything, but it'd just be cool to just be able to like, run around with them, you
that's
know?
fair.
But
See, I agree with that too. Like, I would prefer if they had every Pokemon in the game, but I think it's weird that people complain so much because it's not that big a deal to me. I guess I don't know.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
preferably.
you're only able to go through the game with 6 Pokemon in your party. You don't need to have 1,000 Pokemon. Like,
Right.
hey, they might not have Picky Peck, but hey, they have 50 other different type of birds you can use. You know, like, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me too much.
I think it'd be fine if they incorporated like the legendaries, since those aren't competitive, because of the fact that we were talking about the mythical giveaways.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind having my shiny mythicals in Scarlet and Violet, since I had to
Right.
take the time to go to GameStop and pick up a little piece of paper that let me put them in the game. So I wouldn't mind if you could chance for non-competitive Pokemon.
No.
I completely agree about the competitive part, though, that when it, I don't want to bring this up since it's not really part of the episode, but Smash has 90 characters, which makes it kind of hard to know all the matchups all the time.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the more things you add, the harder it is to learn everything about the game competitive wise. So if there are 1,020, I think we're at 1,020 or 1,021 or something like that. If there's 1,020 Pokemon that you have to learn in competitive Pokemon, that just sounds very like
Yeah, it sounds.
it sounds like I would not want to be in competitive Pokemon.
Yeah, because there are just so many different, like, especially in doubles, there's so many like different little random strategies that you can do by
Right.
just combining 2 Pokemon right next to each other. That it would be insane. But I mean,
Well, and then we get, like-
I think they've done it in the past. I feel like in the generations before Sword and Shield, I think they just had every single Pokemon in competitive. But
Normally,
I didn't play back then.
what I've known about competitive Pokemon is the first 3 or 4 seasons are restricted to what's available in just the game.
Yeah, it's just like the regional decks, right?
Yeah, regional decks, but then they'll expand it to like the national decks that you get access to. Like they did this with, like Pokemon Black and White. You got access to the national decks, but it wasn't like the full national decks because clearly you couldn't catch all the Pokemon in the region. There was only the ones that were available in game. Then they expanded it to more and more. Like that'd make a bit more sense. But I don't know. I enjoy this time at competitive Pokemon because you just get to see Pokemon you don't see.
I would much rather have the ability to like, yeah, if they're gonna introduce new Pokemon, I would much rather see new Pokemon mostly in the competitive scene than returning Pokemon that have been used over and over again in the competitive scene.
Yeah. And
It keeps it fresh for people that are a part of Pokemon VGC.
that's fair. There is one main thing that I hope what I would love for them to do in the next Pokemon game. Some form of voice acting.
Oh, yeah.
Some form.
That was gonna be mine too. Voice acting.
Just wait, Boo. Just wait.
Because it's like we get these dynamic, even if it's only for those, we get these dynamic cutscenes where it's like it's not your normal
cutscenes,
and
as far as the game can go,
and all you hear is like the Pokemon Center music, and you're just sitting there like, I get the point of this.
Even the pre-rendered cutscenes.
I'm like,
I'd be fine with like. So, Bo, have you ever played Persona 5 Royal?
No.
Have you ever seen Persona 5 Royal?
I think I've seen it once.
Okay, well, Booper's played Three Houses, which is strongly inspired by Persona 5 and the way that they do a lot of their chatting and stuff between characters. I wouldn't mind on those instances where it's text boxes if the characters just had little, like, freaking aneurysms or something like that.
Yeah,
Right, they just made
They
noises.
just like grunted or something.
Yeah.
like
noise.
just something more than just dead silence.
Mm-hmm.
But on the pre-rendered cutscenes, when they literally are motioning, they're literally developing the entire motion of mouth movement, and it matches the words that they're saying. Just have a voice actor. I don't care if it's somebody from the studio.
Right.
Have someone record something for the day.
So there has been some. I saw these clips on YouTube where people or some voice actors took the liberty to see what or give what people would see the taste of what it would be like if it had voice acting, and it's just so much different. Like I wish that would be the experience of what my playthrough with it, like just being
I'll say
able to
this
hear
game had a lot of
Nimona,
characters.
right? And I think like this game would have been so great with voice act. Like I just love to hear like Larry's voice, or like just any of them. I just like these are some of the most dynamic characters that we've seen, and yet again. Like we got a musician that's a gym leader and no sound.
I hate those scenes. Like why'd they do it again? Why'd they do it again? It was already one of the cringiest things about Sword and Shield was the what was he, Dark type?
Price.
Dark type gym.
Yeah.
Where he comes out and
Oh,
he's singing
yes.
and there's no voice whatsoever. It was the worst scene in that whole
I do think
game.
those need, if they're gonna have some literal singing gym leaders, then yeah, I think that those ones deserve a little bit more effort. I think that one of the reasons I maybe can see why they didn't do it, and it's why I was mentioning about the characters. There's a lot of characters in this game. That doesn't mean that they can't have voice actors doing the same character over, for some, like, have repeating voice actors for certain characters.
I mean,
But there are quite a few characters in this game, and if you play like Three Houses, there's a lot in that too, I guess. They do, but I think that they do have the same voice actor for a lot of characters in Three Houses.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure like characters like full scenes in Three Houses. There's like almost 70 characters. They have full scenes of voice.
Because
There's
they're
also
students,
other
right? All the
yeah.
students.
There's like what? There's
And all the
20 or
teachers.
something per class, and then there's other characters
There's
that
a
are
lot.
like
Fire Emblem's
teachers and
always been
stuff.
known for that,
Yeah.
right? They've always been known for having a lot of characters, and they've
Right.
always, as far as I can remember from like Game Boy Advance era with Fire Emblem, I think they've always had voice acting. I think.
Yeah, it's becoming harder and harder to defend Game Freak for not doing this. People are bringing up a video interview that the game designer for the past 2 Pokemon games, Shigeru Amori, said during the Sword and Shield development. He said that it's very difficult for them to plan and do voice acting because they have to release the game in 9 different languages, and they released it all at the same time. I remember back whenever Black and White first came out, and I remember checking Cerebi like every single day. And I'd be like, oh, it's in Japan now. Whoa, there's this new thing called Braviary, and it came in Japan first, and then we waited like a year before it came to America. I think that X and Y were the first games that released at the same day everywhere worldwide. So the director's just saying like it's just too hard to like get all the voice acting. But just like while we've been talking about it, I googled it, and Breath of the Wild was also released in 9 different languages, and it has voice acting. Another
For
game
Zelda
that,
to have it too, I think.
yeah, another game that comes to mind is Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Mm-hmm.
That game, I don't know if any of y'all played it. I beat it this year. It's, maybe one of my maybe game of the year. I don't know, but I mean, they'll be the most basic character. You'll just go under a bridge and talk to someone, and they have voice acting. Like, I think that Pokemon can do it. It's not a money issue. It's not a like, do they want or do they or not?
I think
want to.
it's a
think they
time
don't have
issue.
time. Yeah, I don't think they
But
have
then
time.
the sleep.
That requires more time in the year, and if they want to push out a game every year, voice acting takes. You have to record people in a studio. That's gonna, and you have to find the right people to record in the studio.
But then that goes back to what we said earlier. Slow down. It's okay if we don't have a Pokemon game for a few years.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Or at least
I
not
also-
a mainline one, right?
Yeah,
Have a
yeah.
different
I mean,
team
I,
work on a side game, or
Yeah, I always love. Well, just not Ilka. Ilka needs to. We don't.
they need
we
to
don't
back
more
off. They
Pokemon
don't need to
from them.
work on anything else.
I also just googled it during this podcast just to look it up, just to see how many employees Game Freak has. Do any of y'all have any idea how many employees, according to Google, they had in 2022? How many employees did Game Freak have?
Over 1,000, I'd imagine.
All right, Tristan, Booper, what do y'all think?
Cooper, go ahead.
At least I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna throw a curveball or something. So I'm trying to, but like maybe like at least
We're all
100,
like, it's Pokemon.
right?
There's no telling.
Yeah, that's at least 100.
I would say it being the most popular media company and pushing out it, not just like they're not just video games, right? They do all kinds of stuff. They do anime, and I don't know if this is like incorporating all aspects of that company.
Well,
like
I'm just talking about game. I'm talking about Game Freak, the video game studio.
okay, I'd say less than what Bo said. I'd say maybe 500.
Okay, so according to Google, this is from Wikipedia. They apparently in 2022 had 169 staff members.
Okay.
So it's kind of like an issue where like we can say, okay, well, you'll have plenty of money, hire more people, make a better game. But it's like the people who are running that business have traditionally said, hey, look, we like our running the business. We don't want to hire a bunch more people because like we don't know if we're gonna make good hires. We don't know if they're gonna do a good job.
Right, it's quality
we-
control.
Yeah. Like they like having a smaller studio and they like working with a smaller studio. So I don't think that it's just as simple as just like hire more people because like it's their business. Like we can't just tell them, hey, hire like 1,000 more people so that y'all can like push these out more. It's just a time thing. Like they just want to have a smaller studio. So
I mean,
I-
Like we were saying too with the business, it's a business. They're gonna operate on a cash flow basis. If it's cash flowing, then why fix something that's making money?
yeah.
So if they're gonna continue to make money, I can guarantee you right now we're not getting voice acting in the next Pokemon game.
Well, I mean, I think that we were talking about earlier, like what we want next generation. It's gonna be Generation 10. Like I think I hope that they would go balls to the wall. I hope that they would wait like a few years, make it, hopefully stay open world. It's gonna be rough because like this game sold a lot, but I mean the reviews for it have been bad. Or
So I did want to mention this real quick, just because we were
Mhm.
talking about the amount of employees. Monolith Soft, which makes Xenoblade, and also worked with Nintendo on like Breath of the Wild and all their open world games.
Yeah, they assist on a lot of other.
They have almost 300 employees working for Monolith Soft.
Mhm.
They have 272 between 4 studios. So just for comparison's sake, we were just talking about. I just wanted to give a little bit of a comparison to another company that pushes out not as many games and not as frequently as many like games, but they push out pretty big titles. So
yeah, and also Xenoblade, like no one's like, hey, I need Xenoblade 4 right now. Like that studio.
people
is
were
just
fine
like,
with waiting for like 3 or 4 years on the Xenoblade 4 game.
Yeah, like I mean, I was fine with waiting for Gen 9. Like we've all said, we weren't in a rush for it. But yeah, Xenoblade is not trying to push that game out like every single year, you know.
Right.
But what were you about to say, Boop?
What I was gonna say, like, at the end of the day, it's kind of they'll make the type of game they want to make. Like, even if it is like a staffing thing, they could. It's their decision to work with 169 employees at the end of the day. So they could use that as an excuse, like, oh, we're understaffed or something. But they're even if it's like they have their reasons, they're still deliberately making the choice to have that amount of employees. Game Freak can do whatever they want. They're very able to have as many employees as they want to have. So no matter what the issue is, that anytime they're struggling with making something, whether it's graphics or voice acting, it's their decision. There's nothing really stopping them besides themselves.
Well, and they're obviously fine with pushing out a game that's unfinished and then updating it later to fix it. They're perfect.
So here's a question: do you guys think are they gonna patch the game? Like, are we gonna have stable frame rate? Are they gonna fix the issues, or are they gonna say, "Hey, we sold 10 million copies. You're gonna get Scarlet and Violet 2 in a year. Enjoy it."
Yeah, that's how I'm kind of seeing it. This is like
That's
they already sold the game. They have no reason to update the game. They sold so many already. They've made their profit back. They don't have any incentive to make the game better.
I think they'll fix it to some extent. I think they'll fix things that cause games to crash. And I think they'll fix things like when people are joining other people's worlds, they become Gigantamaxed form. I think they'll fix things like that, or like Delibird becoming Dynamax. But I don't think they'll fix things like frame rate. I think they're gonna leave frame rate alone. Maybe fix texture pop-ins. I will say, this is what I wanted to kind of bring up too, is the game that I strongly compare to this game, that I have a really low a low like patience for games that can barely run. I'm kind of a big person on either having good resolution or good frame rate. I can give or take. Like, I would rather play, for instance, like Kingdom Hearts 3 does not, it can run at 4K, but it will not run at 60 frames per second. But it can run at 60 frames per second, but you're running in 1080p. So I'd rather run at 1080p 60 frames per second. Give or take. Like, I would rather, do one or the other. But there's a game, Jedi Fallen Order is a game that I enjoyed thoroughly from start to finish, that had just as bad texture pop-ins and frame rate as this game does. And that was on my PS4 Pro is what I was playing on. I even had game crashes on my PS4 Pro. So, like, that's a pretty rare instance. I don't really
is not optimized very well,
and at all.
Even still, I don't think that
that's what I was gonna say. Was I played it 2 years after it came out, and I still had these issues. So, sometimes there's things that they just don't fix. I don't know if they can or can't, but sometimes it just doesn't get fixed. So, I don't think that texture, like muddy textures, are obviously not going to get fixed. They don't usually. Sword and Shield would be fixed by now, but it still looks the way it does too. So sometimes they just leave that stuff alone. But like I said, I do think they'll fix game crashing sort of stuff.
And and Tahi here in chat, it pretty much just said the same thing. It's like they're just too far down their rabbit hole to stop. That they really, they almost can't stop doing yearly releases on games. Like they kind of have to have something coming out every single year.
They've started a cycle.
Yeah. And so
They can't just stop the cycle that they've started. It's such a big thing, and it's not just them. There's other companies too. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember when Assassin's Creed Origins was being developed, but Ubisoft made it a huge deal that they were just not coming out with an Assassin's Creed game for the year. Like that was just like a big announcement for them that there was not going to be anything for the year.
Yeah, wasn't that after? Was Unity the one that was in Paris that was just entirely broken?
yeah.
Yeah, I think that Pokemon is just in such a state where like every time that the new game comes out, the new anime starts, new card sets come out,
A lot of things affect.
new
Everything.
merchandise comes out. When you look at the Pokemon Company's revenue, merchandise is actually what they make the most money on. It's not on video games. It's actually just plushies and stuff. And so like if you think about like how they've timed everything up in advance, like Scarlet and Violet came out, and the week that it came out in Japan, I think that Sprigatito showed up in the anime that week. And then the next episode, Fuecoco showed up in the anime. And so like they've got it all timed up months, if not years in advance. So
Right.
you know, like whenever they have
They can't
this
slow
game, they're
down.
like, yeah, and they're like, hey, this game needs a little bit more time. Pokemon Company is like, well, no, we've got cards that are about to come out. We've got this that's gonna come out. I wish that like the game would get such bad reviews, and I wish it would get really bad press, and I wish that they would just like pump their brakes and just slow everything down. I wish they would, but I mean, I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens.
To me, I've kind of got a mindset now with Pokemon after being more involved than I used to be starting in Sun and Moon, and just being let down by such high hopes. Like everyone was like, Sword and Shield's gonna be the first open world game. It's on a home console. They have so much more power now than they did on the 3DS. And then it's like you see Sword and Shield, and it did look a lot prettier than Sun and Moon. But like we only had one area and it was pretty small. I mean, compared to other open world games, that was actually like roamable. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I've kind of had a mindset now. I'm just like, I think what everyone's wanting from the game is going to take like 2 or 3 generations
Yeah.
before we actually start seeing, like, y'all are talking about voice acting. I wasn't anticipating voice acting for a Pokemon game until Gen 12 or something like that for myself. But that's just my expectations that I've had of Pokemon now after seeing like BDSP being the biggest letdown I think that Pokemon's done in a long time for the general populace of Pokemon.
That actually kind of raises a question that I have that I think you guys might have different takes on. How do you think Pokemon as a company has improved recently over the last few generations? Because it feels like Pokemon, like there's always been people that are like, oh, their designs are getting lazy. They're not creative with their designs anymore and stuff like that. But like the real like hatred that a lot of people have been having towards Game Freak feels like it really started with Sword and Shield when they started seeing like the graphics and stuff, which is kind of weird to me in some ways because it feels like that was a big leap from Sun and Moon. Personally, I felt that way. Like Sword and Shield is really different than Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Do you think Pokemon is improving, and at what rate would you guys say that they're improving at? Or do you think it's satisfactory how fast they're improving?
So from what Game Freak has started as, which is they have always developed games for a portable console, you know? So they never really like wanted to make games for a home console. They never wanted to make HD. Well, I mean, I'm sure every company probably wants to make HD games in the future, but you know, like they were kind of slow to move to the Switch because nobody knew after the Wii U, nobody knew, is the Switch gonna like, is it gonna blow up? Are we gonna stick to 3DS? Like, what are we doing here exactly? And then the Switch blew up, and they're like, all right, well, I guess we're making open world games now. So I think that they're just kind of slowly adapting to it. It is very sad because I saw some gameplay from Pokemon Colosseum and Pokemon XD Gale Darkness the other day, and I swear those games from the GameCube, I swear they look better than Scarlet and Violet. They run better. The animations look so good on all the Pokemon. Like in battle, they look so good. That of course wasn't made by Game Freak. That was made by Genius Sorority or Sonority, something like that. But I don't know. I mean, I guess they're trying their best to improve. I think that making open world or making 3D games, I think it's just a big difference from making games on a portable console like the DS and 3DS and Game Boy, you know?
I think Pokemon's like Nintendo, where they think that they're what they own is gold, you know, and they don't want it tarnished by other companies. I think that like with the open world thing, they need to do what other companies have been doing, and I'm not saying Monolith Soft in particular, which has been a hot topic for what people think they should do for their open world is give it to Monolith Soft, but definitely some companies out there that know open world better than Pokemon and would definitely know how to build the world better than they do. I think that would really be beneficial, but I think that they just don't want to tarnish their what they own.
Right. And that makes...
They don't feel like giving that out. I mean, Ilka was such a like that was a thing that they did that was really
That was
surprising.
out of left field. I don't even know where that came from.
Yeah. Like it's very rare that they give it to companies like that are random companies. And Monolith Soft isn't a random company. They work with Nintendo. They literally develop games for Nintendo.
I think that they could have a Monolith Soft come in and support them just like how they help support Breath of the Wild. And then another company they've worked a lot with is Bandai Namco, which helped them develop Pokken Tournament and Pokemon Snap. Think about how beautiful those environments are in Pokemon Snap. Think about how amazing the trees are. Pokemon fans love trees. We need the best looking trees. Like, what if you have the money for it? What if you paid for Bandai Namco to just come help you out with some of the environments? You know, like make the towns look a little bit better. Make it where like, you know, like have y'all seen the textures on the Team Star flags when you get up close to them? Like those like fire flags. The textures they look insane.
Yeah, they're a little muddy. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen Tales of Arise, but all the Tales of game are made by Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
And the open world Tales of games now are gorgeous. They're absolutely breathtaking. So like they know how to make, like you were saying, texture wise in Pokemon Snap, even Pokken Tournament. Pokken Tournament had beautiful character models.
They look even on the Wii U it looked amazing.
Yeah, they had made a really pretty game with Pokken Tournament. But you mix that in with like they know how to do open world too. So
yeah,
you know, they could definitely have some take on what, and it not only just open world, like Monolith Soft's JRPGs are completely different JRPGs than Pokemon's turn-based JRPGs, which is a whole nother topic because like turn-based JRPGs are already kind of niche. Not a lot of people play Pokemon is the only still has the most widespread amount of people playing it that is a turn-based JRPG. Because if you look at games like Octopath, it was a good selling game for Square Enix, but like a lot of people still didn't buy it because a lot of people aren't into turn-based JRPGs like they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that so many people do play Pokemon still is kind of astounding, and it really just kind of shows the passion that people have just because of the name Pokemon's in it. Like they're gonna buy it just because Pikachu's in it, right? Like just because there's Pokemon in it, they're gonna buy it. I agree with Kayla. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like modernizing Pokemon is just at a slow pace.
Right. That's fair. I think
so. You'd say it's like it is improving, just not at the speed it should be.
Yeah, I think it's definitely improving. If you look at, I mean, I mean, really, if you do look at like the actual like steps they've been taking, Sword and Shield had the little open world. Legends Arceus had like more open world. It had 4 areas that were like bigger open areas or the wild area, and then of course Scarlet and Violet just combined everything from Legends Arceus into one giant map. So I think that they're in that open world aspect. Yeah, they're getting better, but I don't anticipate getting it to Breath of the Wild standard or even like for I guess today looking at things like Elden Ring type of open area, not graphics wise, but just open area wise. It won't get to that standard for a long time. Maybe 35th anniversary.
35th?
I don't know. I think so. This is something I've just kind of noticed with companies, especially a company like this, because games I like to play. Destiny. That game didn't develop until it was forced to develop, where now its competitors actually were putting something out that would actually be something competing, like something they have that would compete against their own brand. Pokemon doesn't really have that.
You can definitely tell when a gaming studio has employees that are passionate versus people that just treat it as a job.
Right.
Which there's nothing bad with people treating it as a job. People do it for a living and they that's
Well,
acceptable, but like
That's why indie developing is such a been
yeah,
a big
'cause
thing for the
people
last
love
10 years
people
because
love
those are
that.
passionate developers.
But
They
there's like there's others like there's entire series like you guys have played like God of War. That game has only improved since the first game ever came out. I've never played except maybe Ascension. I've never played, and even then the graphics were an improvement. I would never say that the next God of War game was worse than the last. But
Well, and that just comes back to what we were talking about with the whole deal of Pokemon has so many different things that they do
right.
that those are game developers. They're not media companies. Whereas Pokemon's just like, okay, we'll give you a couple million to make this game. If I don't even know if that's I don't know if that's a lot for making a game or not. But I can guarantee that other companies that like oh shoot. Caleb, who made Elden Ring? Was it From Software?
From Software, yes.
Mhm.
I'd imagine From Software gave all of their budget to make Elden Ring, right? Because they don't push out media. I mean, maybe they push out like statues, collectible statues, but that's not going to be a whole lot of budget. Like, so yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. That Pokemon's not in. They used to be entirely focused on games. That's what literally started the entire franchise.
Yeah, I
video
mean,
games.
think about how Generation 1 was, and then think about the move to Generation 2 Johto. And like they were like, hey, let's put Kanto in here. Like let's literally have 2 regions in this game. Because like
Right.
all they had was video games back then. You know, they
That was a
I mean,
good sequel.
Yeah, they had cards, obviously. You know, they had the anime startup and everything, but like it wasn't the whole media conglomerate that it is now. It wasn't, you know, it's just very different nowadays.
So that's another question. Do you think that a thing being more successful makes it produce worse quality?
I
think it just takes a company experimenting with other things that, depending on if that like takes off or not, and then if they're, it's like what we were talking about. If it's making money, it's not gonna fix something that's not
Right.
broken.
Yeah,
So if
right.
they're selling cards that are making money, they're gonna put all. And if the cards are making more money than the game, then the company is gonna be like, okay, we're gonna not put so much money in the game. Obviously, the cards are where it's at. Let's put all of our effort in the cards.
Yeah, I think in the sense of as companies get bigger, they create the public creates an expectation for them that's bigger than the company cares to even think they are. So the public's always like, oh no, more, you need to do better, you need to do better, you need to do better, it needs to be better. Whereas what in reality, as evidence, we don't care. We'll buy it anyway.
We'll buy it and complain.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine.
We're gonna bicker and moan about how things won't load. The game crashes 10 times on opening day. It just goes on and on. And I mean,
That's probably the only reason I got through Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was because of my love for Star Wars.
right? Exactly. Like it doesn't matter. There's a point where companies get where it just doesn't matter.
I love Star Wars so much, and whenever I do play Fallen Order, I have a great time. But with all the technical issues, I've never beaten it. Like I got
given up
double,
after.
I got double blade lightsaber. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I turn it off one day, and I never come back. I've tried to play it like 3 different times.
It bugs me every single time I land my freaking ship on a planet, and it's like a muddy mess. And then it takes like it's like 5 or 10 minutes in, and it's just like, oh, there it is. Now it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very hard question, Boop. Like whenever you asked, like, will they improve? You know, like if they release bad things, because Pokemon Company is just like they're such an oddity. Like think about like the Sonic games. Like I know that I'm not a Sonic fan, but I know that like the newest Sonic game, a lot of Sonic fans like it. But like before this one, what's been like the last Sonic game? I feel like they've released like 10 stinkers.
Well, they released the remake for Sonic Colors, I think, right? Wasn't that the last one they did?
Yeah, that one was bad though, right? No,
yeah, that was bad. They haven't had a good Sonic Heroes was before that, and that one was, I think, no, Forces, Sonic Forces.
The remake.
That one was dog water.
Somehow they made a good game bad by just copy and pasting it.
Yeah. So I guess that like Sonic is kind of similar to Pokemon, where like they can just kind of keep. Which I mean, I don't think Pokemon's ever been as bad as some of those past few Sonic games or whatever, right?
Oh no, they're not
but
comparable.
There's
like-
been unplayable Sonic games.
Yeah, but
in the
then day
past.
day one Sonic fans are still there to buy it. So hopefully Pokemon, isn't like that. Hopefully
Just hope.
we
Sonic's been around a little bit longer than Pokemon,
Well,
right? Like a few
Sonic's
years.
not had the success as a franchise like Pokemon has. Even Sega in general hasn't had the success Pokemon has. I mean, Pokemon, if they really wanted to, and they don't want to, they could push out not a full-fledged hardware, but they could do something similar. to
Pokemon as its own franchise could rival
Sega
Nintendo.
literally had to sell out and not sell out, but they stopped making hardware
yeah.
way long time ago because they were not doing successful. And that was kind of the when it started going downhill for a lot of even just the Sonic games in general, I think, because like before that, like I don't think we've had a good Sonic game as far as I know since like early 2000s, if not the 1990s, as far as I know. I mean, Sonic
Yeah.
Unleashed, I think some people consider that one good. I think that one came out on the Wii,
I love
but that one's
one.
kind of toss up between who you talk to. What were you gonna say, Bo?
So
I like that Sonic Unleashed, but yeah, no, exactly.
Well, that's one of the four that are here. So
so we're a little over 2 hours in, so try to push towards the end here. But there is one I wanted to close with, like probably our last topic as a little bit more positive. Is I want to talk about it's kind of 2 in 1 here. What are you guys' ideas on like as a generation the designs of the Pokemon, and also what is your favorite Pokemon from this generation?
As a whole,
don't all go at once, guys.
Okay, sorry. As a whole, I think a lot of the designs for a lot of the Pokemon are actually, kind of unique. I mean, are there some Pokemon that are a little lazy, like Squawkabilly? That's just a parrot.
Oh, Squawkabilly is cool. It's like kind of like a greaser.
Well,
You're not
right.
even bringing
cool.
up Flamigo.
Oh my!
Yeah,
I
if you wanna
try to
go lazy,
suppress
go
that.
Flamigo.
Okay, but I mean, I like my flamingos clearly, but still
Dude's
the
literally just a lawn ornament.
but there are some Pokemon, yeah, they're lazy. They're really lazy, but there are some really good. There are some really good new Pokemon. I like what they did. The shinies are just as lazy for some Pokemon, but then there's some shiny some new shiny Pokemon like are out of this world. Like, I need to have it. So, and favorite Pokemon. That's a hard one.
I don't know. It's Tinkaton.
No, that's Seth's. I mean, I adore Tinkaton. I think it's funny. You give the tiniest thing in the world a mallet that covers up your entire screen. I think that's hysterical. But for me personally, probably, I don't know. I have liked this. I've liked Roaring Moon since the second I saw it from leaks, and I don't know. I think Roaring Moon should have been what Mega Salamence should have been, in my opinion. So I'm gonna just lock in Roaring Moon.
Okay, let's do Tristan. Tell me what you think.
I think that so my favorite generation is Gen 7, and I did not like any of the new Pokemon on Gen 8. Maybe a couple, but I thought for the most part I didn't really like a whole lot of Pokemon on Gen 8. I thought Gen 7 had great new Pokemon, but that's just my opinion. And I think this is the first time in a while that they've added. Hisui had good new Pokemon for the few that they added. It's funny to me because I think Hisui had better new Pokemon than Sword and Shield did. But I think for the most part, I like all of the new Pokemon they've added. I think that not doing regional variants is kind of a cool thing that they did in this one too, except for maybe they only had one, I think.
There's
Wooper?
Pade and Tauros also.
Oh,
Mhm.
Tauros. I did forget about Tauros. So there's two. There's Wiglet and Tauros. But I enjoy like the paradox thing. I think that's a cool concept that I hope they keep doing where they bring back old Pokemon and just make them new Pokemon. I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, as a whole, I think it's pretty solid new decks. I mean, yeah, granted the couple that they added that were like, I agree, like Flamigo, like literally if they would have just given that freaking bird a mustache or something, just something to make,
mustache?
just something, like I just mean in general, just something to make it look a little different would have been so cool to me.
The difference between a real life flamingo and then flamigo is a single letter.
That's what I mean. Like, why can't
Flamigo is your friend? He's your amigo. Like, I'm not
like
friends
that's
with
what
a
I'm
real
trying to
life
like a mustache.
flamingo.
Like give him like a amigo mustache. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But I think there's just a couple that are a little bit of letdowns. In my opinion, my favorite one is Chin Pao. Chin Pao might actually be my it might be my new favorite Pokemon. Ice types are generally like what I like the most, but because Suicune was my favorite Pokemon.
Oh, dude, Suicune's so cool. I love Suicune.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that he's getting brought back. So, at some point.
Okay, and Caleb?
I freaking love like all the designs. I've never really like been one person to complain about like, oh, this this generation sucks. The only ones that didn't hit for me right off the bat was X and Y Generation 6. I didn't have a lot of like bangers in that one. But I've come to like, a lot of them. I think Klefki's really funny. I love the last generation. Dragapult was awesome. That whole line. The Applin line. A lot of people complain, oh, just an apple. I love him. I think he's so
Right.
awesome. In this generation, I obviously love the mice, Tandemaus, Mousehold. Just absolutely fantastic designs. I think Bex Caliber is really cool. It's kind of cool how he's like a Godzilla, and then his Glaive Rush, his signature attack is really cool. I love the Dung Beetle. I mean, I love a lot of the Pokemon. The only Pokemon that I have any kind of an issue with, it's not even an issue, it's just I'm gonna forget he exists, is I don't like the little Mafia dog that ends up evolving into Mabostiff.
Oh,
That one,
Mabostiff, yeah.
yeah, that one I don't love, but I mean, I don't really have a problem with it. He's just not my favorite, I guess.
it's just forgettable.
Well, when you have Doxbun in the game and Fido,
True, I love that one too. Sorry, we've just been talking for so long, so and I had 2 finals today, so my brain isn't gonna be able to come up with like every single one. But I promise, I love a lot of them. It was
even Graveyard and Houndstone. Like,
Yeah,
there's just better dog Pokemon in this game than
it was
Mastiff.
so hard for me to just have a team of 6. It was so hard. But what about you?
That's
Booper?
a
What do
good
you think?
problem to have.
Okay, so my feelings is since my takes a little bit longer, I'll just start with my new favorite Pokemon, which I've already mentioned. Is my favorite Pokemon in the new games is Mousehold and Tandemaus. They're both equally the same Pokemon, pretty much.
I can't believe you don't like Palafin. I mean, he's got like a whole like All Might shit going on.
I
mean,
do really
know you
like.
love All
I
Might.
like him too. I like him a lot. There's about 4 Pokemon that I really like because I also really love Clodsire.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I
he's
was already like a big Wooper fan before the new generation came out. So I
Yeah.
liked Quagsire. So Clodsire, I think, is just a slightly funnier, derpier version of Quagsire. So I love him. But that's probably my favorite one is Tandemaus. It's to the point where he's almost rivaling Pyukumuku as my favorite Pokemon.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think that would ever happen, but I love Tandemaus and a Mousehold. I'm so glad. I haven't kept up with the meta at all for this game, but I've heard, and I'm so glad that Tandemaus is broken in this game. I heard he's really good.
He's really good with Population Bomb. It goes hard.
It makes me so happy because Pyukumuku has always been trash because he's basically Wobbuffet. He can't like
Right.
he only learns like counter moves and stuff.
Well, he sets up Electric Terrain, right?
No, you're thinking of Pincurchin.
Oh, okay, then yeah, Pyukumuku does. Okay, sorry, yeah, I get it mixed up. They're very
the only like aggressive option Pyukumuku has is using Toxic so that you can slowly take down with poison. That's all he's really got.
Didn't it have some weird like ability or something called like innards out?
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Innards Out is really good.
Like burst
There's
something?
actually a funny story. Everyone was always complaining about that Ultra Necrozma fight, of how hard
Uh-huh.
it was. I two-shot Ultra Necrozma because of Innards Out. I sent out Pyukumuku, Innards Out, did like 90% of his health, and then I just beat
Oh.
him in the next hit.
That's crazy.
So I never experienced the rage of Ultra Necrozma.
You're probably the only person who ever tried that Booper
only.
with that Pokemon.
I didn't know that was supposed to be a hard fight because Innards Out did the whole fight for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is nice to know that. As for like my thoughts on the designs, there's not a lot in this generation that I don't like. I think compared to Gen 8, I didn't really like a lot of Gen 8. The only like ones that I really liked from Gen 8 was like Flapple. That's probably my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon. But as much as, regardless of how much I like each generation, these last two, Generation 8 and 9 specifically, I don't know why, but there's like, I don't know if they're having like a problem, but a lot of the Pokemon just don't feel like Pokemon design-wise. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon that I feel like they like changed something about the way they design their Pokemon now. For at least half of them.
I think that they over design a lot of Pokemon. So a lot of people will be like, it looks like a Digimon. Because like if you think about Generation 1 and 2, like Bulbasaur.
Just look at the starters.
Yeah, Bulbasaur is just like a little green frog that just has like a little bulb on his back, you know?
Even
And
Gen
then
2.
Squirtle is just a blue turtle. And then
Well-
and now like they over design a lot.
See, like, even Gens 1 through 7, I never felt that way. I've heard other people feel that way, but 8 and 9 specifically, like, what was that? What is Gimmeghouls Evolution again?
Golding.
Goldango.
Yeah.
That's a cool design. I like it, but that does
It's a
not look
surfboard.
like a Pokemon. That is not a
Well,
Pokemon.
I think it's a bit of a letdown too because he's supposed to be the thousandth Pokemon celebration one, and it's kind of a letdown to me.
Yeah, he's
That's
just
the
weird.
1000th
He
one.
does not like. If you showed me a drawing of him, I would have thought it was like an 8-year-old's like fan.
Well, a lot of
like,
people
Pokemon.
are comparing him to the cinnamon stick from the Apple Jacks commercial.
Yeah.
Or like
I think he's goofy.
the cheese string cheese dude or something. He just doesn't look like a Pokemon.
I just
I
wish
also-
that his surfboard was out in battle. I think that would have been a lot cooler.
It is if you battle on water. He surfs on
Oh.
the water.
I've always
Like,
felt
that's
this
kinda
way
cool, I
about
guess.
several Pokemon in Gen 8 too, like Toxtricity. I even use Toxtricity, but I never felt like Toxtricity really looked Pokemon-ish. I don't know what it
A lot
is.
of people love Toxtricity, but
He's
I
really
don't-
popular, and
I don't dislike him or anything, but I've never really had any kind of
Well, I think it's like what you're talking about, how they're
Interesting.
over designing now. They're not making them monster like. They're giving them themes of like Toxtricity
Yeah.
is supposed to be a punk rocker.
yeah,
Like
true.
that doesn't sound like a Pokemon thing. That just sounds like a
Yeah, like if you look at Skeleturge, like you know, if when it's Fuecoco, it's just like a little cute guy, and then it evolves in a Crocolar and it has like a little egg on its head. And then when it evolves into a Skeleturge, the egg hatches and it's like this little like flame bird that like lives on its snout. And like I think it turns into the microphone whenever it
Yeah.
uses its signature move.
it's supposed to be a
song, like-
mariachi singer.
Yeah, that's completely
that's what I
different
was
from
talking
Charizard,
about.
who's just a dragon. It's just a,
Right.
You know,
Like you're saying over design, like these themes they started this in X and Y, I think, where they started giving them these type of themes
yeah.
for the Pokemon starter final evolution, which I think was kind of a silly thing to start doing. I would much rather just have like a full on like Embor. I do not like Turpig. I like Turpig. I don't like Embor. But I do like the fact that Embor is just a bigger version and a more stronger looking version of Tepig. Of Tepig,
Yeah.
Turpig or Tepig? I
It's-
can't-
that you might actually be onto something, because I know a lot of people complain about when they make inanimate objects as a Pokemon. I've never had a problem with that. Like, there's
Yeah,
a
I
lot
love
of
that.
I've never mind like if a Pokemon's a rock or something. I think Pokemon as
Oh,
is
it literally had
more-
magnets.
yeah, they're
We've
like
literally
a
had
lot of
magnets as
people.
Pokemon.
I don't agree with a lot of people saying like Pokemon should just be an animal with an element. I think it's cooler when there's like all these different things. Like one of my favorite Pokemon is Golurk, and that's not an animal.
Grimer's literally just a pile of muck.
But
He's
it's the
literally
ones-
just a pile of slime.
It's the ones that have like some weird like they give it a personality. Like you can't imagine Incineroar being any other personality besides Wrestler, dude.
People hate on like Trubbish and Garbodor, but I don't mind Trubbish and Garbodor. I think they're good similar Pokemon to Muck and Grimer, where like you're saying they didn't overdo that. Like they're literally just it's a bag of trash and a pile of trash.
Yeah, it'd be different if it was like a bag of trash that was also like a trash dude, like the guy that goes and takes out takes your trash and throws
It's
it in the
Sid
dump
from
truck.
Toy Story 3.
Yeah,
as a Pokemon.
it's weirder when they try to give like Goldango. It wouldn't be that bad. I feel like if they had turned him more into like a magical creature and not
Well, he
a
looks
guy on
like
a
a surfer
surfboard.
dude. He looks
Yeah,
like
he
a
looks too
surfer
much.
dude.
They give them too much of a personality. And I also don't have a thing against humanoid Pokemon, but I think it's also they're trying to make Pokemon seem more like humans by giving them like, oh, this one's a frog, but it's also a frog that's a ninja. And it's just like weird to me. I don't know.
Which Pokemon is that? I don't know that one.
Greninja.
Oh, Greninja. I'm just kidding. I knew which one that was.
Bro.
Yeah, like it's those ones like Toxtricity is like an animal that's also like a human like rock star.
I think that they did a lot of like cool lore stuff with the Pokemon. Like I think it's really cool. I know that y'all have talked about it a lot tonight, but the Tinkaton line, how they like hunt the Corviknight and then its hammer's made out of Corviknight, and then like the shiny version of it, the only color that changes on it is just the hammer because it's like shiny Corviknight colors.
I think
that
Tinkaton's a good
lore is really
design.
cool.
See,
Yeah.
that's a good Pokemon because it's not like I'm not.
They literally
it's
had
like
that
the
with,
lore
like,
made it
Phantom.
seem more like a species. Like I think that's the thing. Like they don't seem like a species. Like Goldango doesn't seem like a species of Pokemon. If every single Goldango was just like a surfer dude, I would have a hard time believing that was something you would just find in the world.
I think
Right.
it's funny
'Cause-
that I like Gimmighoul and his chest form more than I like Goldango.
Because like
I think that
there's-
would have been a cooler. I think that would have been a cooler 1000th design than Goldango personally. But
the cool thing about Pokemon used to be like every Pokemon, even the same species, could have a different personality. Like every Charizard, some were mean, some were shy, and all this stuff. But you can't imagine, like I was saying, you couldn't imagine Incineroar being like a little shy guy. You can't imagine him being anything besides a big macho cat dude.
he's a bashful, restful.
Yeah.
I think there've always kind of been Pokemon that have like some weird personalities. Like look back at like Generation 1. Like look at like Mr. Mime and Jake.
Yeah, like I'm not
Like-
saying that's a
like
new thing, but
Oh no, yeah. But I'm just saying, like I feel like there's always been like some Pokemon that are just kind of like a little bit off-putting. You know?
it's
They
just
definitely
more
had it in the
common now.
past.
I think.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with Booper with how much they're doing it now.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot more Mr. Mime type Pokemon. Like every single starter evolution has been that now. Where Gen 7 we had all the performer type of Pokemon, which they did the same thing. I think actually this generation and in Gen 7.
Yeah.
And then Gen 8 was all like physical activity type of Pokemon. I think
It
is what they
was
were.
so Gen 8 was the whole prevalence of like your three stereotypes in England.
Oh, British stereotypes.
You pretty much like you
You had
got
your James Bond and
your football player, and then you had your elite musician.
and I like Cinderace, but I also don't like Cinderace at the same time. Like I don't know, it's definitely not one of my favorite starters by far, but
Cinderace is one of the better ones. Like he plays soccer, but like there's not a lot of personality behind plays soccer. You can make up your own personality for Cinderace or something, but it's just hard for some Pokemon when they base the entire Pokemon's design off of like a human like
Trait.
concept or personality or
Yeah.
something. But that's just how I felt about Gen 8 and Gen 9. Like it's not every Pokemon. Like there's perfectly fine Pokemon that feel like Pokemon in both those generations, but they're trying to get too weird with the like. I wouldn't be surprised like if they made a Pokemon that pretended to be the president of the United States or something. I don't know, but
What the heck? Dude, my starter Meowscarada is a freak, dude. Like I don't know if y'all seen any of the videos, but whenever you're in camp, like she'll like walk up and be all like shy, and then like does this thing where like it like leans in, and I swear it looks like it's kissing you. Like, have you seen any of this, Tristan? Has this happened
You're
to you
gonna-
before?
yeah, I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen one of the Pokemon give Motorboat one of the
Oh
main-
yeah, I saw that one.
I've
too.
seen that
yeah.
one too. What one was it?
I
That
don't
was,
remember. It's one of the humanoid ones. It might have been Mouscarada. Mouscarada might be the most horn dog Pokemon in the game. But
Yeah, Meowscarada is down bad.
yeah.
I mean, it could have been Quaquaval too, because they do that thing where they like shimmy in front of themselves like that.
Oh yeah.
So it could have been that one as well.
Did y'all see the video of 2 people playing together online, and someone walked up to a Wiglet, and the Wiglet looked like their penis?
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was just sticking up like this.
I've
and
seen
then-
Looked like
that.
a
and then
third leg, huh?
Yeah, they're staying like right there, and then it uses like some move.
It uses slam. It
Yeah, it
uses
uses
slam.
slam. So it's really, like that, and like slams other Pokemon. And it's like, what the frick is happening? Hey, I know it's way too late. We do not have time to talk about it, but there's co-op in this game, and it's kind of cool.
Oh,
But
that is a
I think that
huge
is
improvement,
That is
yeah.
that's a good. That's one of the good aspects that we should have probably talked about earlier, because I think that was one of the things that Pokemon never ever showed a lick of that crap, and then like
Yeah.
that came out and it was pretty solid.
I didn't know what to expect. It's better than Animal Crossing. Like
You
can
can
go
do
into- you
more
can
in another
go
person's
into-
game.
into a- you can challenge a gym. You can do everything. Like in Animal Crossing, a game all about playing with your friends and decorating everything. You can't like change. Okay, you can change clothes, but you can't like move a piece
can't
of
move
furniture.
furniture.
And then in
Yeah.
Pokemon, it's like, hey, I'm gonna go to the other side of the world and fight Team Star. Like, are you good here? Oh, you're gonna go fight a gym? Okay, cool. Like, and it works. It's
You can
really
even
cool.
see the same Pokemon in the overworld and everything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you can literally see them
crazy.
battling the Pokemon. It was a
crazy how
good. It was a good.
surprisingly well it works.
It's like
I
we were
agree.
saying at the start of the podcast. This game did so much stuff right. If it wasn't just for the graphics problems and the glitches,
Oh, yeah.
it'd be one of the
Oh, yeah.
best Pokemon games they've made ever.
I think there's a couple of mechanics that they should have kept from Legends Arceus that they could have brought. Like I think full contact moves is a big thing to me. I think that kind of adds more of that immersiveness to it, where you actually see your Pokemon actually run up and actually do things
Yeah,
to the other Pokemon.
That is aside
They
from
literally
voice
did that,
acting, that is
but-
another thing they need to add in the future. Is like
Caleb
they need
was
to
talking
improve the
about-
animation.
Caleb was
what-
talking about Coliseum earlier, and Coliseum literally had full contact moves. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it looks amazing. But I mean, Tristan, we've both seen our Meowscarada kiss us on the lips multiple times. So I mean, I'm getting plenty of full contact in my game. I'm good personally. What were you about to say, Bo?
No.
Oh, I
like-
thought you were opening. Are you good, Bo?
He's yawning. He's just
I'm tired. I've been up since 6.
same. Oh, I've been up since 5.
But yeah,
Yeah.
other than voice acting, I know that was an old conversation we had earlier, but they really do. My one complaint is they really need to pick it up on the battle animations.
Well, they did
Yeah.
good in Legends Arceus. I enjoyed.
Yeah, Legends Arceus looked amazing.
It had a lot of good moves in it. All the starters, all their
incredible.
Well, their the to me the final evolution starters. My chair is falling. My yeah, I told y'all it falls slowly over time. I'm way shorter than whenever we started this podcast. All the signature moves that the final evolutions had in Legends Arceus, I loved all those moves because of the way they had full contact with the
Right.
opponent. This is driving me crazy.
All right, well, do y'all want to go and wrap it up here so we
Yeah.
can release Bo and let him go to sleep? I'm
Right.
more than happy to stay in a call and chat with you.
Well,
all
I
and
have
keep
some stuff I
chatting.
want to talk to you about that I just witnessed that you probably already have been seeing all over Twitter.
Did Jeff Keighley's penis just come out?
No, not that big.
Okay.
Or well, I'm assuming big. He's a pretty good. He's a pretty cool guy, so
Okay. All right.
I imagine
well,
he's packing.
let's wrap it up. Booper.
Okay.
Get us out
Okay.
of here.
Yeah, Bo's too tired for the wrap up. I think it'd be good for you to do. it,
Okay. Well, first things first. We'll let you know where you can find us. I'll start. So, most of the viewers that are coming from me know that I'm on TikTok. I make Smash content, Pokemon content, a lot of different types of games, but those are the two main ones. And my TikTok tag is at BooperHero Smash. I'm trying to hit 9,000 followers before the end of the year. I have a few weeks left, but I think I can do it. I'm about 100 followers away. So, what about you, Beko?
Yeah, you can find me on most platforms: YouTube, Twitch, TikTok at imBeko Gaming, imBeko _gaming. You can check me out live tomorrow, where we'll be kicking off my 300 follower celebration. It'll be a 30-hour stream with a little surprise in it. Come and hang out with me. And yeah, Caleb.
Oh, hey, am I not last? Am I third?
Well,
You're more
Well,
important than me, apparently.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought
He
the
was
guest
like
would go
ready
last.
for me to give my whole spiel. Dude, I promise you my whole spiel takes like 2 seconds.
It's
Go
true.
ahead.
Okay. All right. So you can find me over Twitch at twitch.tv/KalebGarner. I don't really have any other social media that I want to plug, because I don't really do any other social media. I also don't really stream anymore because of school, but I did just take my last finals today. So it is Christmas break for me. I've been having a great time. Well, I was having a great time playing competitive. I was 16-4. And I don't know what the hell happened last night, but they figured my tricks out. They, and I went on like a 8-game losing streak.
Ooh.
I'm just scrambling right now. I have no idea
You're
what's going
seeing
on.
the meta evolve before your eyes.
Literally, I'm like, okay, I just use Goldango and I click make it rain and I win. And then people figure that out. They're like, oh, okay, well, we'll bring like other guys. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So I would love to go live. I would also, we're doing some kind of like monotype tournament with Seth. So maybe I could end up streaming some of that, but I don't know. I'll be live again eventually. We'll see. But yeah, thank you also for having me on the podcast. It's been very fun.
And now for the most exciting content creator of us all, Tristan.
Yes.
Yeah, just like last time, I have a Twitter, so.
Or retired Twitch streamer.
Yeah, like last time, you can find me on Twitch at Tlockgx. I haven't streamed in, I think I'm going on 3 months now. We'll see how long that goes. So if you do want to follow me just to see how long I can go without streaming, that'd be kind of cool. Last time I streamed, I was going through Kingdom Hearts 1, so hopefully we can get back to that. But yeah, that's where you can
Tristan,
find me.
I feel like you should just like link your LinkedIn. You should be like, hey, you can find me on LinkedIn. Go ahead and
You
connect
can-
with me.
You got any good jobs out there? you can
Yeah,
find me on
I'd love to make a connection with you.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. For anyone who did end up dropping by during the live, and anyone who is going to be listening to us later on YouTube and hopefully sometime in the future Spotify. But yeah, that's going to do it for us tonight. Becco, if you want to hit us out of here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you all for watching and listening to us talk. This is the SmashCast podcast. I hope to see you all around next time. Goodbye.